Small man, they watch us. Ball man, I like them. Bad shawty, bad it. Tall man, I watch her. Flex, ice up on her. Neck, man, I watch her. Flex, ice up on her. Neck, shawty.
We love Morioh.
What a beautiful day. Welcome to episode 7 of the Morioh radio broadcast. It's been like, how long has it been? It's been too
Like
long.
a year and some change.
I'm sorry. I will definitely not take the blame. I'm gonna blame it on Pat. And the reason
Huh?
why, we have a,
What?
we have a good episode in store for you guys. I'm joined by Simi, Straw Hat Pat, Yurt.
And this time I've come prepared.
Yeah.
It's just us three today, and yeah, Steel Ball Run greatness. I feel like we put it off long enough, but before we hop into the actual Steel Ball Run discussion, there's a couple things I wanted to shoot at you guys real quick, and then we'll hop right in. So, I mean, I had this conversation so long ago, I almost don't remember how it went, but I was talking to somebody about Giorno, because Dio's body, blah blah blah. Is he more like Dio? Is he more like Jonathan? And do you guys consider him to be a Joestar or no, or somewhere in between? I don't know where you guys stand on that topic.
Pat, go first.
Okay. Well, when you look at Giorno, he's not really a Joestar. I mean, when you look at all the Joestars, they always have like a moment that defines them, like this is their part, this is their story, they're gonna be who we're focusing on throughout the entire part of JoJo. But like with Giorno, it's like we almost had that in the beginning, and then when Bruno came, he just took over the whole spotlight.
Okay.
And then Giorno was like kind of like in the back seat up until like the final arc, and then we have that mess that happened at the end. I don't even know what that is still to this day. But it's just he never had moments where I was like, yeah, he's the one. That's the main character. That's a Joestar. Nah, it was it's Giorno Giovanna. That's it.
I feel it. What about you?
I mean, well, from fucking a technicality standpoint, that nigga most definitely is not a Joestar. But I mean, well, I guess you could fucking argue semantics. But regardless, he just kind of there. Like, I don't. He's the outlier of the cast of main characters. He's just there. Like, I think Araki tried with him, but it just was no cigar. He gave him a cool outfit. He got his pose. He got a fucking ridiculous hairdo, but just none of it hit. None of it hit. His catchphrase don't hit. He don't hit. The shit that he do not hit.
That piano.
Okay, but was there a piano theme in the fucking manga? No.
We're now.
Man getting carried by a freaking melody that came out how many years after his manga came out? Could not be my MC.
Oh shit.
But that being said, I don't know, man. I personally don't like him, so I guess my answer is fucking biased. So I don't remotely see him as a Joestar at all. But he's just there. He don't do nothing cool. Neither like his journey doesn't really seem like a fucking personal one, like everybody else's. And whatnot. He just fucking there, and I just don't give a shit about what the fuck he be doing. So nah, that nigga not a fucking Joestar. Fuck that guy.
I mean, yeah, I never really considered him one, even though I still consider him, I guess, like one of the protagonists. I don't really consider him a Joestar because Dio, I guess technically it's Sting's body, so you can argue, like you said, semantics. You can kind of argue that, but I think the issue that us three have most to do, we're not particularly Giorno fans. Like he's my second least favorite of the Joestars, I guess, or JoJo's. So like Johnny, we'll talk about him. He's my least favorite, and we'll talk about why. But I definitely still consider Johnny to be a Joestar though, more so. Giorno feels like this weird hybrid mercenary that kind of just came, did his thing, and then I just don't really think about him again. And I don't know if part of what he was trying to do was let me try to make a more bland main character. Not, and some people might argue Jonathan is pretty bland. I wouldn't. He's not He's not exciting to a lot of people, but I don't think he's bland. He's definitely a product of his time period and environment with the whole English gentleman gimmick. But I wouldn't consider him kind of bland. Like Giorno sometimes to me feels like almost like a blank slate character in a video game where you just choose options and they're not particularly exciting options. They're almost like facsimiles of the same answer. So I don't know. I'm just not a fan of him. So I'm kind of with you guys. Like to me, no. But I imagine someone who likes him more might have a different opinion.
I think he actually put it perfectly. Like that nigga's literally just a mercenary. He just there. He there. He get hired. He do his thing, and then. I mean, well, technically he didn't leave, but in the grand scheme of how he feels as a piece in the story, yeah, he just moved like a fucking mercenary. The nigga just show up, he do things, and that's it. He fucking whack. But hey, man, this is not the fucking time for that.
All right. Yeah, anything else you want to add to that, Pat?
It just sucks because I wanted to like him. Like when I found out he was Dio's son, I had such high expectations, and like the only thing he would do was just like say Muda with gold experience, or just I don't know. He just never had anything that just won me over.
I think you made a good point with kind of like, I mean, in a lot of ways that's similar to this part where it's like the kind of secondary, like the protagonist, they kind of steal the spotlight in a lot of ways. Where it's like, I care about Bruno's resolve and personal journey a lot more than what Giorno's doing and going through. The same way I feel similar about
100%.
Gyro to Johnny. So, I mean, we'll get there. But real quick. Passione. I said Passione, but I really probably should have said, what do we call the Vento Orero crew? What the fuck is there? I guess they're technically a part of Passione that defected.
No, that's what
them versus
ain't they?
Stardust Crusaders, though. Like, I don't know. I guess we can go combat too if you wanted, but I kind of just like comparing the groups just to see how we feel about them as a collective for each part, because I think how you feel towards the main quote unquote party and all the parts probably affects your level of enjoyment. So I actually really like Passione a lot. I don't know if I like them more than Stardust Crusaders, but then I don't know if I just like Joseph that much. So I gotta think about it. But where do you guys fall there? You can go combat if you want. I don't know if you wanted to go there.
Fucking Stardust Crusaders, easy sweet. Like they're just something iconic about that entire group. Like from their look to the actual members. The fact that you have fucking not only one but two Joestars in one fucking group, and they're like polar opposites of each other. Gas pack, and everybody else just. I mean, well, I don't know, man. I think both teams had ample downtime, but I like the downtime of that we got with the fucking Stardust Crusaders more than Passione. I find them more fucking funny. Also, we don't have a fucking turncoat in Stardust Crusaders, so they get the edge on that too. But there's just something, they got that rawness and swag edge to them. To put it in fucking coon terms.
I for sure feel you on the iconic stuff, because there's so many things about that part that not only bleeds into later parts of JoJo itself, but just across all kinds of media, especially Japanese media and stuff. So I'm with you on that, especially like Jotaro's look with the hat and the like, is it Boncho or whatever, look at the fucking delinquent jacket thing, but like, but then he had to be extra, add a big old chain coming out the and it just looks great. It's awesome. So I'm with you on that. I don't know if from top to bottom I think they're better though. Like I mean better is relative to the person. But Pat, you give me your thoughts before I ramble.
Well, it's hard, because like I do actually really like Passione as a group. I feel like as characters, they are better fleshed out. They have better reasons for doing what they're doing. Like Kakyoin literally just decided to join them on a whim without telling his parents or whatever. Polnareff had a good reason, but Abdo was just tagging along. And then like with Passione, it's like all of them had their lives impacted greatly by Bucciarati's presence. So they all had a reason for being there. They all had a reason for being loyal to him. And it's like with that, it made me like the group as a whole. But I don't know. It's like Simi said. It's just something about Stardust Crusaders that's just like, those my niggas, man. Like, they're just funnier. They have better chemistry, I feel like, as a group. Jotaro, he raw, top 3 Joestar, not 3. And it's just, I don't know. And they got Joseph, too. Like, come on, bro. Like, come on.
Yeah, I can't argue with the Joseph point. Definitely can't argue with that. I'll say this. I kind of agree with you. Maybe they feel a lot more fleshed out and real, and their motivations are a lot better. And part 5, I would say. But I'm the kind of person a lot of times though. Even if, let's say, you have character A, and like in a series, and like you could clearly tell later on, you know, the creator kind of replicated this character's template but did it better. Sometimes I still have to just respect the original because you don't get what you get without the groundwork. If you get what I'm saying.
That's facts.
Like, to me, they were like the original tight-knit group going around doing a bunch of shit before all the other ones. So as much as I would say, yeah, they maybe not be as fleshed out, you don't get the level of fleshed out the other ones are without this as the blueprint, so to speak.
And I will say this. The deaths for the characters in Stardust Crusaders definitely hit way harder than the deaths in Passione. Because, like, Bucciarati died halfway in, and he was a zombie for the rest of the part, which was very, very weird. Narancia's death was just so unnecessary. Like, I didn't even have time to feel anything when it happened. I was just like, what the fuck? And
it definitely hit me more when I watched it because obviously I can't just skip through it and read it as fast as I can or whatever. So like it hits you.
And anime did a lot better.
But definitely, probably I was upset, but I definitely didn't feel as much reading it because I was just like, what?
Yeah, I think the added fucking anime only scenes help drive the fucking moment home too with fucking Narancia.
Yeah, like the saddest death for Passione was Abakio's because it was just like, fuck. They got him, and nobody was even paying attention. But like with Stardust Crusaders, like all their deaths, I felt that. Like when Iggy died, I was like, damn, not the dog. Like you know, I was like, not the dog. When Kakyoin died, I was like, what the fuck? No, he had this nigga Dio cornered. Like it just hit a lot harder. Even though like Passione were better characters, just the moments when the characters of Stardust Crusaders died was a lot better. So I'll give that too.
I agree with that. Even when we thought Joseph was done.
Oh my god! I was about to rip my heart out.
All right. Anything else you want to add to that?
Yeah, actually, I wanted to say that even though fucking Passione, you know, is more quote unquote family, right? Because they're all there for a reason, all singular reason because of one character. The reason, well, I think the reason that fucking Stardust Crusaders hits harder is because they're a ragtag team. It's because you have a mash of a bunch of different niggas who don't really have anything to do with each other, and then you grow that fucking bond between each and every one of them throughout the fucking series, so that when their deaths do happen, it hits fucking harder versus characters that already have their reasons and they already have done shit off screen, and you don't learn that until like halfway or near the end of the series and whatnot. Then they die. So I think the fucking formula was better in Stardust Crusaders in general. So things like fucking early JRPGs or even other iconic fucking teams like fucking Team Uromeshi slap so hard because they're a fucking ragtag team, and then through their fucking trials and tribulations they grow a bond with each other, and as you the viewer watching them each step of the way grow that bond too, until eventually they fucking either pass away or retire or what may have you.
I agree with that.
That's a good point.
That's a good point.
Because even piggybacking off of that, thinking about it, I'm like, wait a minute. Like it might be a personal thing, but like, yeah, those guys were all in the mafia and had, they all had bad experiences, but not brought them together, and they're all from, for the most part, they're from Italy. Whereas you got someone from France, Japan. Well, Joseph is from, technically he's British, right? So so it's like that the actual idea that like these guys on any given day would have nothing to do with one another, but because of a common goal and deal, they came together. Actually, I agree with that point. That's a good point. I never thought about it that way. But all right, let's hop into the steel ball run discussion. So the universe has been reset. So we're in a different timeline, so to speak. And I know this was a big point of contention, way back in the day, and the part 6 ending and stuff. And I think when I started reading JoJo, Steel Ball Run was almost done. I want to say at least like 88 chapters in. So I didn't see the original discussions about the beginning. But how do you guys feel about the whole kind of like timeline being reset, or different timelines, so to speak?
It was perfect. It was the absolutely perfect move to fucking do, because now it's freaking a direct sequel versus retconning everything. Because like if he just freaking shit, if he said after the ending of fucking Stone Ocean, he's like, all right, do over, right, and then it was pretty much exactly like, or I should say, it was in the universe that fucking parts 1 through 6 happened in. It would just be a literal fucking do-over versus going back in time in the new universe that Pucci created. So doing this, it's still a direct sequel to part 6, because now we're looking at the timeline in this new universe versus just redoing the original universe. Right, so I think I thought it was a fucking perfect move. And not only that, but freaking Japanese niggas too scared to do shit like that. So, there's not that many series that you could think of that fucking do something that fucking wild. So I thought it was fucking perfect. It's not too hard to follow if you've actually been following the series from beginning to end, from part 1 to now. There's nothing to be confused about. I thought it was a fucking great move. I was actually ecstatic to see that freaking to actually learn that, this is not just part 1 redone in the original universe. This is how part 1 played out in fucking Pucci's new universe, a universe B. I'm going to start referring to it as.
Okay, we can. I can get behind that universe B. And I'm with you. Like, for me, it was mostly positive. What about you, Pat? How did you feel about the reset and stuff?
When the reset happened, I was still very, very salty at the way Stone Ocean ended. So I came, like, you should not do this, but I went into part 7 thinking it's going to suck. And I was like, this is not going to be good. And I wanted to not like it. And I as I'm reading it, I was just thinking to myself, I was like, you know what? This might not have been a bad idea, because as you keep going on with JoJo, we started back in the 1800s. And then we gradually moved towards the timelines, and then we went to the present day. Like, eventually, it got to the point where he had pretty much passed, the year that he was living in. Because Stone Ocean finished, what year did it finish? Like 2007 or something like that?
You mean literally or within the universe?
Literally.
Okay, I'll check. We'll continue.
But yeah, like, he had passed the real life timeline of like the present day,
2003, like real world.
2003. Okay, so Stone Ocean takes place, I think, in 2011, and he had to do something where it was like, even though it's a bizarre adventure, we don't want to go too over the top as we're going further and further into the future. And like, the only thing I didn't like was the fact that since Jolene was the female lead, she was the first female lead, he had her lose to the main villain. But in the end, when he retconned it the way that he did, Jolene technically won because she saved Emporio, and then Emporio took care of that trash ass nigga in the end. So then, like Simi says,
sorry, continue.
But yeah, like Simi said, we start over, and then, like, if you have a brain, you can see that this is the same universe that we just got into at the end of part 6, but we're going back into the past and seeing how things played out up until this point. So the way it started, like, it's just, I don't know, man. This man Araki is just a genius. Like, he starts it over, and it's like you have the same characters because they are the same, but they're like different versions, and you can see all the different callbacks with like people sharing the same names and stuff like that. And it just made it for a fun and interesting read when you start over with part 7.
So, I think with me, like out of all the options selects that he had to go with, I think he picked the actual best option. Not gonna say it's perfect, but he picked the best option. Now, it didn't throw me for any type of loop. I always assume this is because of my comic book background. This shit happens every other day. Every other day, there's some multiverse spanning event, retcon, and then everything gets rewritten. Someone goes back in time. Someone rewrites reality. I'm so used to it. So like, I wasn't confused at all. So that was fine for me. But the reason why I think it was good is because he gets to tread on old territory, so to speak. But anything that he did not get a chance to do, he gets a chance to do it now with a new spin in the new universe. And like we said, we're not going through the same place in the same time period, because this one is what 19. What the fuck is this? What year is this? 19 what? 1900s for Steel Ball Run, but like, and like from the U.S. perspective, and they're doing the little race, as opposed to, I think, in the 1980s we started in like Britain or whatever, right? So I feel like if there was anything with those parts he wanted to do, with Johnny being the kind of counterpart to Jonathan, he gets to make that character maybe a little more contemporary. So I just felt like with the freedom of doing this, basically it's his own different universe, but there's familiarity here. It just gave him the freedom to literally be able to do what he wants, what he wanted, because he did bring back things that we've seen before, like Morioh still exists. The town is still a town, but look how completely different it is in a weird way. So I honestly thought it was the perfect decision, because I think that his creativity was kind of unlocked in a different way after he did this. And yeah, I'll talk about another part, something about that later on when the time is right. But yeah, so we have a bunch of alternate timeline counterparts and homage played in the paid in the Steel Ball universe. Do you guys like that? Do you think it's too on the nose when you see it, or do you think it's good to have it there so you have a tie back to the previous 6 parts?
I love it. I love it every time I see it.
Do you find that you catch most of them, or do you kind of like see them after the fact, or like maybe someone points it out later? There's a lot of these I realized I didn't catch on my first read.
The first time I definitely didn't see them until I read like Steel Ball Run again, and then I was looking like the contestant names, and I was like, wait a minute, like even Poco Loco, it didn't even hit me until I read it the second time. I was like, oh wait, isn't that the boy Jonathan said in part 1? I was like, yeah, a lot of these callbacks are pretty cool.
Yeah, they're raw. And I most definitely gotta agree with you that I didn't catch most of them that weren't blatantly fucking obvious, like fucking Dio and Stroheim.
Yeah, I kind of
the first time. But like the fucking like there was a Higashikata in there. Fucking shit. You know what? I'm going to sleep.
Obviously, we have like Johnny and Gyro Zappelli and stuff like that, right? But and Diego, I would say the ones that I guess I didn't pick up immediately that were kind of on the nose were the ones like Poco Loco, whatever, like that I didn't catch immediately. I probably subconsciously recognize the last name Higashikata, whatever, but I probably didn't notice immediately. Maybe when I caught it later on. But there's certain things like that. But like, I think the ones that were a bit more subtle, so to speak, those are the ones I didn't get. Like, it probably didn't occur to me until maybe, I don't know, halfway through my read that I think this spin shit is supposed to be whatever, the counterpart of Ripple. I didn't really take it that way at first because stands already existed, so I didn't necessarily see the point. But I started seeing the Ripple as the spin as a counterpart to the Ripple. I don't know if you guys see it that way.
I thought you fucking cool blue truth. I actually just think nothing of it. I just think it's pretty cool. I think it's comical and I think it's pretty cool. I didn't think that freaking Araki was actually trying to do something opposite or the counter thesis, so to speak, of fucking ripple breathing. So that's actually some food for thought.
Yeah.
Cause I just thought, all right, cool. He throw balls at people and they fucking twist their body. It's funny. Pretty ball go. "Brr."
Yeah. That's kind of how I saw it. Like later on, like I don't know if that's exactly what he wanted to do, but like stands existed and Hamon always existed. It just they came up point where a lot of people weren't using it, and Joseph was that kind of bridge. But yeah, I kind of saw it as that. That was just me though.
Yeah, that's kind of an interesting point.
Because
Because
part of me
like
was
when I
wondering.
look
Sorry,
at
go ahead.
it,
Go ahead.
when I look at it, it's like Gyro obviously is like the counterpart for Will Zeppeli. So it's like he was teaching Johnny to spin, and it just it's I don't know, cause like it were definitely some moments in there when it was getting a little ridiculous, like when they were going up against I think it was Sandman, and nigga was in the lake literally dying, and then, like Johnny's like, bro, tell me the next secret to the spin, cause I can't beat him, and he over here like, you need to pay your respects. You need to say you can't do this at least 3 more times. I'm like, bro, what the fuck are you talking about? Just tell him how to do it. But I don't think there was ever a moment like that with Hamon in particular. Like
Yeah, but
the wine training lesson was kind of cool, but I don't think it ever got that extreme.
no, but I think it goes more so on a freaking morals or just a basic standpoint, because basically at the end of the day, ripple breathing is the secret to long life, right? Live long and
Mm,
prosper, right? While uh the rotation was the exact opposite. It's a fucking execution tool. So
mm.
I think you could make a very good argument.
Mm.
I think you can make a very good argument that yeah, the balls are the counter thesis to Hamon, because Hamon you could use it as a battling technique, yeah, but at the end of the day, Hamon users, they're peaceful beings, so to speak. The point is to fucking extend your life cycle. Meanwhile, the rotation is literally just to fucking kill niggas. Granted, you could kill niggas with no pain and shit like that, but at the end of the day, it's the exact opposite of extending your life. It's snuffing out life. So yeah, I could follow that fucking blue truth. Yeah,
Nah, cause you're making hold on, cause you're making sense, cause like you think, cause like right, cause Art of the Sendos, Mystics, whatever, that's life energy, right? And what is it commonly used to combat? Really, if you think about it, the undead,
Yeah.
zombies, vamps, all those kind of things, right? So you're kind of getting things that are really things that are unnatural. It really doesn't hurt you as a human. Like I'm sure you could probably hurt someone with Hamon-based attacks, but you can just channel it through yourself properly if you know you do it. Like it's actually pretty harmless if you know what you're doing, and it extends life or whatever. Whereas this was something I don't remember I don't remember if we know like was this as a belly developed technique because they were executioners in this universe? I don't remember how it
yeah.
exactly. Okay,
Yeah,
right.
it was. Yeah.
But I haven't really seen this do anything but destroy, and it's very useful against other humans and whatnot. So honestly think that's interesting. I want to think about it a lot more, but we might be onto something. We have the beginnings of something here in the works.
Yeah, since we never fucking since JoJo isn't over, it's still ongoing. You never know when the shit could fucking pop up again. Because even though fucking even though Gyro is out of here, right? There's nothing to say that historians don't exist. There's nothing to say that there won't be a fucking Zeppeli otaku to come down the line eventually, who's someone who's obsessed with that lifeline and try to rebirth the fucking rotation and shit like that, right? So you never know if that shit's ever gonna pop up again. So there's a fucking argument there for sure.
Yeah, if everyone listening, I'm interested to see your guys' opinion on that, the spin versus the ripple, how you guys view that. Cause I'm starting to think now. But damn, I think what you said about the life thing about the ripple that resonated. But would you guys say you notice any differences with Araki now that he's in a seinen magazine? To not to be that guy, but now that he's in Ultra Jump and he could push stuff a little bit more. Because I felt like Jump stopped him from doing a lot of things. So at least Shonen Jump. Like I know some of the characters made him change gender and he couldn't show certain types of LGBT representation. But do you feel like he's gotten a different type of freedom once he hit Ultra Jump, or no? Same thing.
I mean, obviously, but besides the freaking chapter lengths increasing, right, and him being monthly and not weekly, I really feel like there's a fucking argument here. I just couldn't give you the answer. I really feel like he's able. There's blatant fucking examples of shit that he's doing that he was not allowed to do in Shonen Jump, but I really couldn't answer you. Sorry.
Or at the very least, he'd have to hide it or sneak it in there subtly or something like that. Work around it.
Yeah, I really wouldn't. I wouldn't be able to fucking answer you. I would have to go back again because I wasn't looking for anything like that at all, or actually thinking along that mindset. But there's probably a bunch of shit in there. Pat, tag in.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to say because Jump was different back in the 80s in regards to like nudity and violence when it comes to shonen series, and then like it changed. I would say probably like around the late 90s periods where it got more tame. So I'm not sure if I would say that he's got more artistic freedom to do what he wants. It's probably more like he's reverting back to what he had done in the beginning in the first place, if you know what I mean.
That makes sense to me. Like in the sense you're saying, this is what it would have been if Jump didn't constantly stifle his creativity. So this is the original. Okay, I hear you. That's a good point. I never thought about it that way. Because here's how I kind of feel about it. Because I always felt like he still pushed the boundaries a lot, especially with body horror, like fucking blades coming out your mouth versus Metallica and stuff. Like it is actually pretty. I don't know if you really looked at some of those panels. Sometimes it's actually very very disturbing. But like Uzumaki kind of levels of disturbing almost, but if not more for some scenes. But damn, honestly, now that you've said that, I agree with you. That makes more sense to me than where I was going. I'm on board with you. Like, this is original Araki, and then with Jump, he had to, maybe scale back and change and hide, sneak things in, and maybe just like, what, or maybe I feel like a lot of times you're like, I don't even want the headache. Let me just not bother. And now that he's made the little transition to Ultra Jump and Seinen, he's just like, oh, not like now I don't even have to deal with editors even in my ear about this. So he's just free. I'm going with that line of thinking. I like it better than mine.
Yeah, because like when I read like a lot of like the 80s series, like Fist of the North Star, for example, the way Kenshiro was bodying some of these niggas, I was like, oh my god, this is a shonen. Damn, it was different in the 80s.
That hyper masculinity era, you gotta be 6'4", 280 pounds of pure muscle.
He just tap a nigga on the head and be like, you're already dead. Turn around, his whole skull just split open. You got guts flying everywhere. I'm just like, oh my god. Mm-hmm. This shit was different back then.
I'm with you.
Yeah, that is a very good fucking point because I mean, yeah, part 4 was way more tame than parts 1 and 2, right? And then I would even say like freaking besides the fucking besides Metallica and fucking 5 and some instances in 6, there wasn't anything crazy out there. Like besides people getting punched or shot, there wasn't the hyper levels of fucking gore that you saw in fucking Bao or part 1 and 2. And then here at fucking Steel Ball Run, it goes back to that where people just like fucking getting mangled and fucking discombobulated and unrecognizable and shit like that. And it's like, and even when people do get shot in Steel Ball Run, it's different. Like when fucking Mista shoots somebody, right? You see the holes and shit, but the focus isn't the end result of them getting shot. It's more so of what Sex Pistols is doing. Here in Steel Ball Run, somebody gets shot, you get in that full page panel of their face and how their head is just completely coming apart from the fucking bullet and shit like that.
Yeah. Honestly, like that's kind of like I would have to fact check, but I feel that makes sense to me. Like, you know, like with all these death scenes, what they will do is they'll put the emphasis, at least visually, on the death. It'll be maybe on the coolness of the move or something else. But with this, it's like, oh no, like that guy got mangled. Like he is not okay. He's shaking it over there. So I'm with you guys on that one. Now, how did we feel about the spin as a power? Messy and disposable, or like how did we feel about it? Cause like I don't know. No, you guys go first, and I'll chime in. But did you like it first of all, or not like it, or are you indifferent? It's like whatever.
Rawness and swag.
The golden.
That's
How you feel with them angles, dog?
Nah. Hold on. The golden rectangle is one of the most silliest things I ever seen in my entire life. But nah, the rotation itself is just raw because he mixed some real world shit in there with the fucking fiction, and it's just so gas packed. Like the fact that you could use it to temporarily boost yourself, boost your own physical capabilities, or something else, or just objects around you, and completely beat the shit out of people with. It's just so raw. Secondly, it's unique as fuck. Nobody else do that. You don't see nobody else doing fucking what the fuck can I what joke can I make? That's not funny no more. I don't got none on my damn head. But you don't see nobody else fucking throwing steel balls at people and they start fucking twisting like the fucking cinnamon toast crunch and then they fucking drop to the ground. That shit is it's fucking raw. Like he snapped with that. It doesn't matter if it's silly or toilet humor saying oh no, Gyro's missing one of his balls type shit is funny. At the end of the day, it's unique, it's cool, and it brings a lot of interesting aspects of fucking fights or whatnot. And then, as we just said previously, the whole counter thesis to fucking ripple breathing. So that shit rawness, man. I need a bike. Now I need that bike. I didn't give a shit about fucking a high motor if I'm being honest with you. But that rotation, that shit gas, boy. I need that bike.
Well, how did you feel about it?
Not to sound like a broken record, but that shit raw, man. That shit raw. Like, man, this nigga Gyro, he got so many different uses for it. Like, and it's not even just like you could use it just for fighting. This nigga fooling around with one of the patients in the house, just chilling. Dad come back home. He was like, "Fuck, he can't catch us together. We're gonna be in trouble." This man used the spin to age her to make her look like an old ass patient. I'm over here like, bro, that's my MC. Who the fuck is a Johnny? This is a Gyro series. Like, and not only that, I like the fact that even though the Zeppeli family, they're the ones that's like the pioneers of the spin with the way they use it, they still had like the subordinates that helped them as executioners. They were able to use it too. Like Weka People, when he came in with his ataxia, and what was it, left side ataxia?
I should have
that shit was that shit was dumb raw. You telling me this nigga spin that shit on the ground? You can't see out the left side of your entire existence? Hell no. Nah. I would not be able to fight somebody like that. So I love the ingenuity behind it. That was a great concept. That shit need to come back for real.
Oh, actually, well, hold on. Before you get started, Eddie, son, you see, look, that just helps strengthen my blue truth. Other people could use it. It's not just exclusive to the fucking Zeppeli Day. It's not more so. Or not only the Zeppelis use it, other people use it too. So there could be a possibility that this shit is not completely lost to time. Nah, son, we need a bike. We need it bike. We need it bike.
It's one of those things where, like, I think it's one of those things where it's like, it's kind of like shit. What's the dance version of the fusion for Goku Vegeta? Is that Gogeta?
It's
Gogeta.
Potara's for Vegeta.
Potara and Metal Maurice.
Gogeta always existed conceptually. within the universe, and that never happened yet in the canon. I think until the Brolin movie, but conceptually,
Yeah.
they always had the ability to do the dance and fuse in that way. So Hamon and the spin are something I always see in that way. Like we may not be seeing people use it or whatever, but conceptually it exists in the world because these are both ancient practices. Hamon are the Sendo mystics. That was for a long time, even back when Cars and them were verse awake and shit. And then the spin was from the Middle Ages. Now, I actually am in agreement with you guys. Where like when I'm seeing the spin being used and stuff, it's really cool and I like it. If someone was like, "Hey, could you explain to me how this works?" I don't know where to begin. I could not explain this to you. I have no fucking idea what the hell he's talking about when you're like the 16.9 golden ratio and the pace of the horse. You must get it at the right angle. You've completely lost me, and I'm actually very bad at math. So you've lost me even more. Math is easily my worst subject. So I can't explain it, but it's cool. You guys are not wrong. Like it's raw. But if you had to, like, I could explain to you Stance, I could explain to you Ripple, I could explain to you all that stuff. I cannot. I would have to go look it up and then come back to you with my interpretation of what's going on. Not even I couldn't even tell you this is the right answer. So,
Bro, it's not hard, bro. It's that Araki just complicated the shit for no reason. Just draw a rectangle, and then inside that rectangle, draw half of a square in the corner of that rectangle.
You're assuming that that's not already a lot for me mathematically. That's already a lot. I already bust out a ruler and a calculator. I'm already lost, bro.
If you stick a dot in the center of that square and then do a spiral, you'll be able to make multiple rectangles within that spiral, and then that's the golden rectangle.
You got it.
Listen, at the end of the day,
we go have
a tree out, and that's all you got.
Listen, Act 4 out, golden spin. You know what I'm saying? So that's all I ever needed. But I do think it was messy though. And the fact that I haven't seen it yet makes me feel it was disposable, but like Simbi said, it could still exist. So I don't know if it's gonna come back. Low key, sometimes I wonder if Hamon exists and all three of them exist in this world. Stance, Hamon, and the spin. But we'll get there when we get there. We'll see. But ultimately, to me, I do like it. Couldn't explain it to you, but I did think it was kind of messy. I think maybe if I revisit it or really pay attention, maybe it may not feel that way to me. But like I said, it's only messy to me because I'm like, bro, all this math to make his nail spin. Like, can we just not do? Like, I don't know. I just I'm not good with numbers and math and shit though. But all right, you guys, before I move on, do you wanna add anything to that? We good.
Yeah, we good.
Johnny Joestar. So, he's a character that I think most people I talk to really like, but we're the only opinions that really matter. So, how we feel about Johnny Joestar as a lead? Do you like him as a character, his stand, his thematic role in the story, all that stuff? Like, let's just get into all of it. Like, how do we feel about this dude?
So I think I'm more on the positive side of him. So I don't dislike him at all. I think he's fine. How he starts, he starts freaking very unlikable. He starts out like a little shit, and then he gradually becomes more and more likable. But I thought he was cool. I never had an issue with him. Before he became what's the fucking what I'm looking for? A fucking cripple. He was wilding the fuck out.
Okay, yeah.
He was big fucking wilding, right? But then he fucking got his just desserts, and then he got humbled real quick, and now his ass in a chair. But other than that, he cool. His stand, on the other hand, it really is a funny thing. So I think it's whatever, but I really like the opinion of my sister, what she has to say about it. She says she feels like fucking Steel Ball Run is more X-Men like than JoJo because of fucking Gyro and Johnny's power, especially Johnny, because stands, they, I don't know, man. They usually have. I don't even know how to fucking explain it, so I'm just gonna start rambling. But stands usually have like a sort of like feel to them, like this is a stand and that they could do something. Like I think they usually manipulate physicality in some sort of way, shape, or form. Meanwhile, Johnny's power is more like a mutation, sort of, right? Instead of like, for example, fucking Jolene is kind of like a fucking a Logia devil fruit user, right? She could turn her body into fucking string. That's manipulating physicality. While Johnny, his body is just kind of fucking mutating and shit, kind of like an American superhero. And same thing with fucking Gyro. He has a utility that helps him do the things that he does. Meanwhile, other stands they usually manipulate physicality in some way, shape, or form, like fucking Josuke Part 4 and shit like that. How he could fucking basically like a jigsaw puzzle reshape shit and whatnot that he hits. What? So Johnny's power just it feels weird. It doesn't really feel JoJo-esque. It feels more American superhero-esque. And I really understand what she's saying when she says it feels more like X-Men than JoJo. He feels like a mutant instead of a fucking a human with stand powers. Now that being said, his fingernail rotation is one of the weirdest shits I've ever seen in my entire life. But it's pretty cool. I at first I thought it was just weird, but nah, it's cool. Shooting your fingernails seems fucking painful as fuck. I wouldn't want to do that personally, but it's raw. It's basically just a hyper version of a gun. He just basically has a gun. You find so? It's just a fucking gun. But
Listen, I don't think his power is raw. Take us to Act 4. He starts lying, okay? With the golden rectangle. Otherwise, I don't think Tusk is cool in the slightest. Not one bit. So I'm with you.
Yeah, it's just a fucking gun, right? It's a gun, but instead of fucking lead bullets, it's his fucking fingernails. And it's shooting fast enough.
Imbued with the power of the spin.
Yeah, exactly. It feels like a mutation instead of his own ability to manipulate the world or himself in some way, shape, or form. So I hope I'm getting across to you what the both of us are trying to say with that. But regardless, anyways, I think his power is alright. Tusk itself is just fucking whatever. Like, it's ugly, but I mean,
I'm not a fan of either.
I mean, it's as fucking Rentaro said, it's one of those ugly, cute sort of things. Like, I could see where Araki was going for, but it's still pretty fucking ugly. But still kind of cute if you squint your eyes hard enough. That being said, I think his power is alright. It's fine. Tusk itself is whatever to me. But the fingernail rotation is just, okay, he got a gun, but, we gotta JoJo-fy it, so instead of bullet, he nails. That's fine. Now, I do think, though, that near the end, I think Gyro had to fucking die. Because if he didn't, Johnny was going to turn to something that nobody would want. That nigga would turn into the next fucking antagonist. And I say that because as the story progresses, this nigga Johnny is becoming more and more murderous for no fucking reason. Well, I guess you could say there's a reason, but nah, he's wilding the fuck out. There's just certain instances where he just stops listening to rhyme, reason, logic, all of that, and all he's thinking about is fucking murder. That boy needed to stop. And Gyro's looking at him like, bro, what is wrong with you?
That dark determination, where he has like the fire in his eyes, and he's just like,
exactly.
Like, oh, like that nigga just ready to kill.
Yeah, and he's not going to stop until he kills somebody. Like, I feel like if he was allowed to continue along that path, he would have turned to something very fucking dark. And Gyro dying was able to snap him out of it. So I feel like, his determination was actually slowly turning into something very fucking twisted, and that Gyro dying was the fucking swan song that he needed so if he can bring his act back down to reality. But other than that, I think he's a fine lead. I don't have issue with him. I like his progression from being a little shit to actually, doing things on his own and whatnot and being his own man and stuff like that. His power, cool. Tusk, whatever. His design itself, he wearing fucking pajamas, but it's whatever. That man racing across the country in his fucking PJs. But it's whatever, man. But I don't dislike him at all. I really couldn't say I dislike him, but he's not just there either. Like Giorno is for me. So he's like, if I had to put him on a scale from 1 to 10, he'd get 6.5. That is a passing grade.
All right. What about you, Pat?
Okay, so with Johnny Joestar,
Who shot
first
Johnny
time,
Joestar?
the first time I read it, I didn't really like him that much. And the second time I read Steel Ball Run, where I was able to like focus and look at extra details to his character and stuff like that, I realized he's actually pretty unique, and he's a very balanced character. When I say balanced, it's because he has a backstory that's like, it's not, oh, boohoo, you have to feel sorry for him. It's like, no, this is why he is the way that he is. Mm-hmm. This is how he got to be a cripple. And this is how he's going about his journey, living his life as a cripple, and how he's changing as he's journeying with Gyro across the country. Because I just want to preface this by saying I don't dislike any of the main JoJo leads. I don't dislike Giorno. I don't dislike Johnny. I don't like Giorno, but I don't dislike him. Well, Johnny, at first I kind of disliked him, and then like as I gone, I grew to like him quite a bit. Because it's like, at first it stood out to me how selfish he was. Like, every time they had a situation on their hands, he was always putting himself first. Like when they had the first no, it wasn't the first race. I think it was the second race where Gyro was like, I have to come in first place. So, like, you have to chill a little bit at the end. And then this motherfucker passed Gyro. And I'm like, bro, this nigga is trying to save a little boy back in his home country. Like, what are you doing? Like, why would you pass him in the race right there? But it's like, as you go on, you go through all these hardships that they have trying to get all the corpse pieces. He starts to understand the value of a friend, because he ain't had no friends growing up, which is probably why he is the way that he is. And then on top of that, like every time he was faced with like hardship or a choice that he had to make, his stand evolved. So it kind of like reminded me of Koichi. Like, obviously it's not meek or like a little weak spirited like Koichi is,
but the acts remind you of Koichi.
Yes, like the Act 1, Act 2, Act 3, it was kind of like the same. It was giving me the same vibe as Koichi. Like the determination that he showed when they were fighting the what the fuck is his name?
Ringo?
That one. Oh. No, not Ringo. The guy who was like, every time you kill me, my sins passed on to you.
Oh yes. Ah, fuck. And that's such a big part of this. It's such a big moment too. I never remember my guy's name. But continue.
I can't. You guys know who I'm talking about. Yeah. Like the determination that he showed me, where he was like, the only way to pass these sins is for me to kill myself, and then like he shot himself, and then Tusk evolved into Act 3, and then like Act 3 was able to chase them no matter what. I was like, oh, hold up. These finger bullets just stepped up in the rawness department. Like, this shit kind of like, I was like, this shit kind of crazy right now. And then what else did I want to say about Johnny? Like Simi said, the determination that he had to just body anything moving whenever the opportunity presented itself. Like, I don't know if you guys ever seen the tweet where guys was like reading Steel Ball Run, and then Gyro was like, look at that guy Diego, I fucking hate that guy. And then it's like Johnny, like, yeah, let's fucking kill him. And Gyro's like, dude.
Axel Rowe, right?
Yeah. It's like, dude, like, I don't want to kill him, I just don't fucking like him. Like, what's wrong with you? But no, I like that about him as a character, because like all the other Joestars were kind of like
Civil War.
Oh,
Yes, I remember this part. Yes, there you go.
they were kind of like, I wouldn't say reluctant to kill people, but that wasn't like the first thing on their mind. But with Johnny, it was like, oh no, this motherfucker gotta go. I'm gonna body him real quick. So I kind of admired that about him.
Oh, you like that? You know,
Yeah.
under normal circumstances, I'd probably appreciate it. That's not. I don't know. All right, so I'll get into my spiel about this guy. Where do I even start? So I never thought he was a bad character. So if you're talking from like a writing standpoint and all that blah 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 and all that good stuff, objectively, he's fine. Nothing wrong with him. Now I don't like him. I don't like him because honestly, the only thing he's done in this series that I kind of like didn't even happen in this part. It's not even a part of part 7. He just had the unfortunate like. I don't know, it's unfortunate that, but like almost nothing he does I like. I don't like his character design. I don't like his color scheme. I don't like his stand. I don't like his stand ability. I don't like his stance color scheme. Now, the coolest part about his backstory to me is the way they kind of pay homage to Danny, the dog, in the sense where it's like, you know, the mouse is what scares his brother's horse, and then he feels like it's his problem. So he starts being a dickhead, and he gets what he deserves. And then throughout the whole manga, he's arguably the most selfish person, right? Because he's like, what do I want to do? Walk. And at this point, it didn't matter what he had. There was points where it didn't really matter what he had to do, but get those corpse parts, and then it's like, oh, so I can walk. And then he tried to do the thing where it's like, well, now I'm trying to keep him away from Valentine, and we'll talk about their little. We'll talk about their duality because I think it's actually super super important to the characters. But yeah, Johnny just had the unfortunate like. I just don't like him, like, and like Nick, you're talking about like him speeding past thing, and then like he's like, oh yeah, I'm gonna just kill this guy, and like, and then he just does things. And I'm like, why are you like this? Like, just get off the panel, put my nigga Gyro, let him show his grills, let him spin his bonds, sing about mozzarella cheese, and that's all I ever needed. I don't need you here. All he does is upset me when he comes on the screen. Honestly, he just upsets me because. Nothing makes me more. Nothing upsets me more. Like, don't like the main character, and then they kind of get the role. Another character I had liked in this sense, Gyro, and now he's going against a character that I like, and he's beating him. So nothing. It's just unfortunate how all the stars lined up with this guy. I'm not a fan. There's nothing, but like I said, there's nothing wrong with him because briefly tapping into the duality, you're almost supposed to kind of like Valentine and dislike this guy, and then it flips it on its head during a certain point. That's kind of my design. Now, I never came around like everyone else was, like I was supposed to, but I think he did this on purpose because he has to learn. He's unlearning all of these bad habits in a sense by the end, and then in my opinion, that comes into a great moment in part 8. I'm not gonna talk about why, but to me, that was the best moment that he had. And I think this entire part leads to that moment, to that act of selflessness. And I'll leave it there. But other than that, this is not my guy. You're just not, man. Nails? I don't, come on. I don't know. Like, it's just, I don't know what to tell you. You can't even walk until you can. Like, I don't know, dude.
I will say this. I started to come around to liking him during the Sugar Mountain arc when they was getting completely bodied by 11 men. Like,
Oh, Jesus.
these dudes were fucking relentless. And then towards the end, when Gyro started like turning into a fucking tree because they hadn't given up all the pieces that they had gotten from Sugar Mountain, and he traded in the corpse pieces to preserve Gyro's life. I really enjoyed that moment because it's like, even though he wanted to walk so badly that he was willing to sacrifice anything, at the end of the day, he couldn't turn his back on his only friend. So I really appreciated that.
Mm-hmm. But like that I agree with you. But that moment to me also, like, it's just so fucking weird to say, but it also ties into that level of selfishness because that's his only friend he's got, and he's like, I mean, this beats loneliness. So you can almost see that as an act of not. You could interpret that as not an act of selflessness. I'm not saying it wasn't. I'm just saying I can make the argument. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm doing.
I feel you. I feel you, bro. I feel you.
Just Don't get out there because there's probably a part of me that would be thinking that happened to me. Like, yeah, I'm trying to rock with this guy. You know, all right, you gotta take the parts, and it's like there's part of me like, damn. But you know what? This be slowly. I don't know. It is what it is. People don't like to admit it, but human nature can be so fucking ugly. But anyways. I guess I'm on a topic to talk about their relationship and talk about the Zeppelides, the beauty and tragedy of the Zeppeli family. Was Gyro the protagonist? Let us. We're gonna have a dialogue.
So we are going to have a dialogue.
We're going to have a dialogue about the goat. About Mr. Spinballs, the executioner, Gyro Zeppeli. What is he? Is he your guy's favorite out of the? I was gonna say the three. Is there more? Just the three: Caesar, Antonio, and yeah, I guess for the most part. Is he your guy's favorite out of the three?
Easily.
Without a doubt, easily.
I like Caesar a lot, but sorry, Gyro's that dude. But I am.
It's cause Gyro is like, cause that boy just a nigga. Like, first of all, why the fuck he got grilling him out? Like, son. Was grills even invented back then? How he got
I want to say they used to put wood in their mouth for some reason. I don't know if I remember that. If I'm remembering that right, but like, yeah, like, why do you have like dead ass like front type grills like nigga Paul Wallen over here? Like, what's going on?
Like, how
he has his fucking name on his grills, bro.
How he got that? Why he got that? And like, this nigga, he got brain damage. He just be doing stupid shit. He be singing about fucking cheese. He be wilding the fuck out. Like, he's just amusing to follow, period. He just raw. Like, that's the homie. Point blank, period. He just nobody else touching him. He don't he got a belt buckle that's like fucking pointing to his dick. He got grills in his mouth. He got a cowboy hat. It's just gas pack. It's gas pack. It's just gas pack. From his design to his name to his power to how he act. Everything. It's just raw. Nobody touching him.
My bad. I stepped out for a second.
Wait, I finished speaking. Tag it.
Pat.
Yeah, like Simi said, bro. Like, the nigga is just fucking raw, man. I just everything about him was just so awesome. The way he would calmly approach a situation, why he was even in the race to begin with. Just the fact that everybody else over here rocking with stands, and this man got his trusty steel balls. And no matter how many times some shits get blown up, he's just like, fuck it, I'll make more. Fuck. And just, like, I don't even know how he was able to make more steel balls. He just made them. And it's like, every time they were in a pinch, he never panicked. And then at the same time, he was always schooling Johnny on how to use the spin. And it was just the dynamic that they had as friends was just so cool and awesome to see. Like, these niggas journeyed from all the way across the country to New York. And how many days was it? Like 50? Something like that?
Yeah, it was like almost 2 months, I think. Something like that.
It was together for a long ass time. And it's just like, I don't know, man. Like, you don't see friendships like Gyro and Johnny too often in manga. Like, every time they were just talking together, just shooting the shit, it was just a fun moment to see. Like, when right before they were about to fight Ringo, he sees Hot Pants and he just like, look at Hot Pants, I fucking hate that guy, tell him to eat shit, Johnny. And then Johnny's like, telling yourself, and he's like, eat shit, asshole. Like, this shit,
Yeah,
this
like
shit
that,
is just fucking funny, bro.
He's so rude. I love it. He just feisty. Yeah.
And even when you go into like his backstory, every time they flash back to how he was living, like growing up, being next in line to be the head executioner of the Zeppeli family, like, he didn't have no qualms about being the successor, but he was like that kind of new school kind of successor. You know what I mean? Like every time he did something, he just needed to know why. Like he needed to have a reason behind why he was doing something, or he needed to have like a just cause. Like when he's talking about how he couldn't execute the boy because like this shit not right, bro. Like if I have to execute a prisoner, like sure, I'll do it, but at least I have to know that the prisoner deserved to die. Like this kid ain't do shit. All he did was shine his shoes. And he gotta die. It's fucked up. So I just loved his moral code. I loved how funny he was. I loved his fucking spin ability. It just everything about him was just fucking cool.
Yeah, it's just Gyro has the same type of attraction and pull and presence on screen that I'd say like part 2 Joseph has, where it's just nonstop enjoyment. Is this the best way I could put it? Right? It's not that he's not a good character, and all the things we spoke about in terms of his character and his growth, his backstory, the reason why he raced, and how he actually kind of firmed his determination and goals and during his fight with Ringo about thinking about the deserving to die and whatnot, and like the real reason why he was racing and stuff, and then him deciding to stop taking shortcuts, things of that nature. Like there's all of that's in there, but like for me, it's as simple as this is an enjoyable character to follow, right? And his partnership and relationship with Johnny is half of what makes it interesting, even though he's clearly the more interesting half of it. But the only thing I would say I kind of don't like about how Jared was used is the Zeppelins are in a lot of ways just a plot device used to bolster the Joestar in question.
Unfortunately.
Which I don't like. And I feel it so much here because you can tell in a lot of ways Araki was just like, I never got a chance to let this Joestar Zeppelin relationship ride its course throughout the part. They usually die pretty early or at some point or whatever, right? So you could tell he just wanted to have that kind of like that dichotomy there. But you can see it so much more because all of those lessons are imparted onto Johnny, and eventually he embodies them. Like he's like inheriting that will, and it's so much more obvious. And that's the only part that bothers me. But otherwise, this dude is great. Like it hurts me that he's not around, man. Didn't even really need a stand until like I think at the very end or some point he had like a little stand, but like he really was just throwing that ball and spinning it. That's my GOAT. Top 5. Dead or alive.
It sucks because it's like when we got introduced to him and I saw what his name was, Gyro.
You already
Zeppeli,
get that like,
I just death flags right there. I was like, fuck. I was thinking to myself, I was like, please don't kill him. And then like as we're going through, when he survived the fight against Sandman, I was like, oh, I guess he's not gonna die then. Then what fucking happens? It's just like fuck. As soon as they fighting against funny Valentine, I already knew what time it was. Damn, man, that shit sucked.
Rip Gyro. Well, I think we're gonna come back to these guys in a second, just because I feel like the four characters of Valentine, Diego, Gyro, and Johnny are so important. Like they all tie into one another, and I'll get back to that in a second. But let's talk about Scary Monster, Diego, Brando. Now, let's start with this. How do you feel about him in comparison to Dio Brando? Better, worse, indifferent, something different? Just like I kind of start this one. I still like Diego. He's cool. I don't hit the same. I don't know what it was with me. It didn't hit the same, but it hit in a way that was different because he felt so much more fleshed out, integral in the part of this part, in a sense where it's like Dio was he's kind of left alone, I would say, in at least his major parts. We do know a little bit about him. Yeah, his dad, blah blah blah, and he was mean, and his mom passed, and then he was just an asshole forever. But Dio has this weird ability in his parts to kind of be the center of focus, but not in the picture all the time. So I feel like with this one, he's constantly there and he's doing his own thing. And because he isn't already kind of at the top, he seems more even with the other writers and main characters. I just felt that his presence within the narrative felt different in a good way, but to me it's not as exciting. It kind of appeals to that, like, I guess, the intellectual side of me a bit more, but I just want to see this nigga scream the word though, bro. Like, I don't need all that. I just don't need it. I just need him to come with the evil charisma and do what he do. Not that he didn't do that, but and Scary Monsters is cool, but it's not the world. But how do you guys feel about that?
Yeah, I actually 100% agree. As y'all know, I don't like fucking ranking shit. I don't like fucking
not ranking it, but just kind of how you feel about it. I guess you don't have to compare it to Dio if you don't want. Just how you feel about Dio.
I'll just go using that as a segue. Like, I don't like fucking ranking shit or fucking directly saying X is better than Y. But yeah, I 100% agree that fucking Dio, the original, is better, or Dio from Universe A is better than Diego from Universe B, like, in every sense of the word. And that's not remotely downplaying Diego at all, or saying that he's a bad character. It's just Dio, that's a once in a century talent. You just can't replicate that. That boy different. Diego, he was more the methodical antagonist, right? He had a brain. He did shit fucking step by step, Keikaku Dori type, right? All according to plan, right? So it was more definitely a different type of hit, but it didn't hit nowhere near as hard as fucking Dio from Universe A did. And that being said, Diego's still raw. He's still a good foil for both Gyro and Johnny. And Scary Monsters, Jurassic Park out. Yeah, that shit fucking horrifying, man. That boy different. Not like the first time when they was fucking sleeping in that towel, this nigga is transforming into a fucking reptile. Like, nah, that shit's fucking horrifying, man. It's fucking horrifying. That whole stat is different. Like, and I'm happy that it's different than fucking time manipulation, because we saw quite a bunch of time manipulation from fucking 3 onward. So I'm happy that, it was completely different until fucking the very last part of Steel Ball Run. But regardless, him just transforming into a fucking dinosaur, that shit is just, ooh, I absolutely love it. At first I was like, what the fuck is this shit? But nah, it's fucking raw. I love the horror aspect of it. I love the intimidation aspect of it. I love how dangerous of a stand it is. I like everything about it. Does it hit as hard as fucking Zawaru though? Nah. But it's still raw in its own sense.
Okay.
Also, that nigga got his fucking name on his hat for no day.
Turbo in the eye. And he looked like, and he kind of looks like Giorno when he's younger in this version. I think the best way for me to explain this version of Diego is he feels a lot more contemporary. Like, I feel like villains or whatever are written more like this nowadays. Like, you don't usually just have like a guy like, who's that? Like, I don't know, he's just some guy in the universe. He just don't like niggas. Like, like he's just different. Like, he's just evil. Like, you don't really get that anymore. And I miss that. I don't think you always need them to be this fleshed out or sympathetic or whatever the case is. You could just kind of have a guy be a guy that's like, why is he like that? Evil out, man. Some people are evil. If people could be this good, if you're a hero, then he's just the villain. Like, it's how it is. If you're a source of great righteousness and justice, well, then he's a great source of despair and evil. I don't know what to tell you. How about you though? And then we'll talk about the other version of Diego 2 that came at the end. I thought that was the weakest part of Part 7, but we'll talk about that. Go ahead.
Oh my god, it don't matter what version of Dio is on my screen. Part 1, Part 3, Part 7. All these niggas is the gold! Oh my god, I love seeing this man so much. Listen, Part 1 was the malicious, completely despicable dickhead side of Dio that we all saw, that introduced us to him, that made us like him. Part 3, we see he learned his lesson a little bit, he chilled out, but then what happened? At the very end, when the chips were down, this nigga reverted back to his malicious, downright despicable, evil, terrible ass human being that he always is. Then we get to Part 7, and what do we get? We get the calm, calculated, deceiving Diego Brando, always hanging back, you know? Like, at first he was being manipulated by somebody else, and what he do? He took that ability for his own and started going after the corpse pieces by himself. Raw. Then he started running side by side with Gyro and Johnny in a race, and he told them niggas, y'all never gonna be able to beat me. Why? Because I got dinosaur senses. I can sense the way y'all horses is breathing while I'm riding on this shit. Because of that, I can always speed up whenever y'all try to get too close. I'm like, bro, this thing is the go. Like, it's just too fucking good, bro. Like, every time I see Diego on the screen, what he doing? Always hanging back, trying to observe from a distance. Then when it's time for him to make his move, he step in. Fucking wicked people get shot by Valentine. And then he see Johnny get shot by Valentine. So what he do? He try to take on Valentine, but he about to get fucked up. So he tricked wicked people into coming into both sides, smush them together, kill that nigga, and then go after Valentine again. And I'm like, you know what? Raw. This nigga is the GOAT. He's just so fucking smart. I just love the way Diego's approach to Steel Ball Run was. Like, every time he was faced with hardship, this nigga would take a step back, reevaluate himself, and then come back even harder. Like, it's just, the preservation of this man is just unreal. Even when they got onto the train at the very end, and he ended up dying, but he had Valentine on the fucking brink. Like, I really thought he was about to get this man out the paint for a second. It's just, I don't know. He's not, obviously, he can't be as iconic as the original, but he's still pretty fucking raw. This nigga is top tier, for sure.
Part of me is just like it just his involvement is so different too, where it's like I imagine it would have felt similar if he was like the end goal, like, you know, Diego was, he peeled Valentine and he took the prize money or something, and it's like he has a part and it's like now the end goal is to go to him. I feel like I think because he's a player in the game, going up against another antagonist, it's so interesting seeing him in that role, but it's just not as iconic, I would say, or as impactful. But I do think a lot of ways I feel like all the stuff that we see with him here are just things we wouldn't get to see in part 3, because I imagine he thinks like this. Like, you just don't see it. We just see him like, okay, everyone's dead, boss time. Now it's my turn. So, again, excellent character. There isn't a bad version of Dio, really. I don't know how I feel about that swapped end version that just came out of nowhere and then he just had the world like that felt like the most forced reference to
Are we going to talk about that later, or are we supposed to talk about on this side of segment?
You can talk about, do you want to save it for later? Actually, we'll save it for later.
Yeah, we'll save it for later.
But let's talk about the greatest, my favorite villain in JoJo, man. Yasarski Defoshi. Doja, that's the gold. Maga, we out here, huh? I'm joking. So shout out to the only shout out to the only president of the United States that ever mattered, Funny Valentine. Now, I'm gonna get into the space-time stuff in a second, and we'll talk about the Who Shot Johnny Joestar stuff. But let's just start with the character Funny Valentine, within the narrative itself. How do we feel about it?
Bum.
Why is he a bum, son?
Oh my god, I can't stand this clown, son. First of all,
Let's do it.
this man, he not even fucking dead until at least a quarter in the series. Now you could try to use a Bluetooth of see me, he wasn't gonna need it.
I don't even know what you said. I lost the plot. What was that?
Oh my god. Anyways, and my counter argument to that would be when Kira finally did show up, it was raw. What the hell freaking Funny do when he show up? This man, he's sitting in a car and he got a fucking napkin fetish. I'm like, bro, what is wrong with you? He's sitting in the fucking train car talking about some, Do you know what every world leader has in common? They took the napkin. What is he talking about? What is he talking about, man? He got a tissue fetish. Every single time this man on screen talking about taking a goddamn napkin. Boy, go wipe your ass and go on somewhere with that. And what? Secondly, he fat. Oh my god, boy. It pissed me off, son. Get the first full face panel of this man. And the first thing I'm seeing is chins. Multiple chins. I'm like, bro, are you kidding me right now? Son, first of all, he fucking fat. Second of all, he got a fucking tissue fetish. Talking about some goddamn take the napkin. No, that's not raw. That is not raw. That saying is not raw. Nobody took a napkin and just freaking won and activate the power of win. That shit whack.
You were about to get destroyed. Just continue. You're not ready for about to unleash. She's not ready. I hope you have some more, or else I'm over prepared.
Over prepared, you say? We're gonna see when I fucking leave the corner. I don't hear it.
Oh my goodness. Okay, napkin's not raw tissue fetish. He's fat.
Then he go in the fucking building and go sleep for the next quarter. Oh my god! Then he go in the fucking building. He go sleep for the next quarter, right? Then he finally fucking wake up and he jumping through a fucking slipstream. I'm like, bro. Nigga, Dark Souls, fucking dodge road. He waits for fucking victory, man. I'm like, you know what?
When you have those invincible frames, you gotta use them. That's the problem.
Oh my god. Jumping through fucking slipstream, bitch. I'm like, alright, man. I'm sick and tired of this shit, man.
Man.
Then he put, what's that nigga name from fucking Reborn? You know what I'm talking about? The fucking nigga from Future Art.
Wait, what? Sorry, say it again.
What's the guy name from Reborn?
Oh, Byakuran. Yeah, he's on the Byakuran gimmick. Yeah.
Yeah. Then he got his fucking Byakuran gimmick where I'm like, yo, bro. You know what? Take your fucking American flag and fucking go on somewhere, man. I'm tired. Got checking out.
Alright. Go ahead.
Alright. My heart and actions are utterly unclouded. They are all those of justice. Put him in the office! Put him in the office!
Make America great again. Let it be known that I'm from Canada.
Oh my god!
I don't have a president. I'm a prime minister. Continue.
This video get flag. Fucking speak.
This nigga funny Valentine top 3 JoJo villains. I swear. Listen, we ain't never seen no other JoJo villain evolve from being a fat chump piece of shit to being this macho, muscular version of a president. He the most fit president I ever seen. Oh my god! This man came through
You be
talking
working out of
to
that parallel universe. Let's go. As long as one of us in shape, we all in shape, nigga. Yes, sir.
this man came through when they was fighting Axl Rose, snatched up the rest of the Jesus pieces like a real ass nigga. Came up. Then after that, he talking to what's the name? Was it Holly? Was that her name?
Wait, sorry.
Damn,
I just start over. Sorry, I cut off. No, that's not over. But you said Holly. Isn't she in part? Isn't she come in part 8?
Yeah, it's part 8.
Talk about Lucy.
Lucy. There we go. Lucy Steele. He's talking to Lucy Steele. You trying to talk to her, and you telling her, you are my good luck charm, pretty much. The destiny has reserved the final court's piece for me. You are my ally. With you by my side, I won't be able to lose to nobody. And what he do? This man opened up a dimensional rift. Every time someone try to fuck him up, that energy get passed on to somebody across the fucking world that he don't even know. And what he do? He blame it on his opponents. He talk about some, y'all trying to kill me. Y'all ended up killing somebody, some poor soul from Lord knows where. I don't know where that was at, but you just killed him. Don't blame me. Blame yourself. I'm like, bro, this nigga devious. And then we're not even going to get into the fucking napkin speech. This man said,
This man did not understand the speech. He didn't get it. He didn't get it. He didn't understand it, bro.
Sit at the table. What determines which napkin you pick up? It's because of the person who picks up the first napkin. That first person dictates everybody else's decision. And when I heard this speech, well, not heard, when I read it, I was like, yo, this nigga making sense.
There's a lot of truth
when you go to the movie theater, and you got an armchair rest to the left and to the right of you, which one you gonna put your arm on? The one that's not occupied.
But if I put him there first, now you don't got no armrest.
Exactly. If you make the choice, then everybody else gotta make the choice. And I'm just like,
based off your decision.
And at the very end,
Napkin Fetish raw.
at the very end, when this nigga get defeated by Johnny Joestar, what he do? He accept his defeat with grace and let that nigga go about his day. Then nigga Johnny think everything's all smooth and diddly. No sir. Fucking Diego passed by in the alternate universe. He's like, I've been waiting for you. You cannot let that filthy foreigner Johnny Joestar win this fucking race. We here to make America great again. You gonna have to go win that fucking race. I was like, put him in the office. That's my president.
Put him in the Hall of Fame.
Hey, the only president I'm putting over this nigga is Obama. Every other president can get the fuck. Johnny Valentine, that's my president.
I can't even give Obese that. He gotta come second. I can't even give you that, dog.
I'm gonna have to relax because Obama can hoop, so he gonna be number one.
All right. He's a 1B.
Oh my god. Oh, this video game flag, boy.
All right. So I'll start with his ability. Here's my favorite ability because I'm a comic book stan. I love the parallel universe stuff. Byakuran's power is one of my favorite ones. You brought him up earlier. The ability to share information amongst the versions of yourself across the multiverse. That's just so dangerous, right? And the fact that his belief in what he is so concrete that all the versions of himself pretty much share that. We'll hop into what that really means in a second. Now, what does a good antagonist usually do? Pushes the story forward. And it challenges your protagonist's decisions and whatnot. And I would argue at the beginning of the story, from the way that the story is presented, because at the end of the day, Funny Valentine is a politician. Him spouting these fucking platitudes and idealisms, like he has this air of like, my favorite thing about him is his kind of air of like noble integrity and like, yeah, I'm confident, I'll get shit. Like, that's what politicians do. They just overpromise and underdeliver. He's doing exactly what you would expect a politician to do, right? So when I see him on screen, what I like about him is he's always doing something kind of devious, but he talks to you as if just like for the betterment of the country, because of what's happening. Like, it's got to be done this way. And obviously, it's painted as patriotism. We know it's nationalism. We can be honest with that. It's obvious he's not patriotic. That's nationalism, right? But the story of his father, when his friend came back from the war, and he showed him the napkin, and he was talking about all the things his dad did and sacrificed himself for the country. That's what instilled that initial boost of patriotism into him. Joined the army. He does what he does, and then after I can't remember exactly what happened. He's in the sand, and I think he falls and collapses on one of the corpse's parts. And then this is the only thing about him that I'm like, this is kind of stupid. Like, you don't really know what all the parts do, but you're like, oh no, for the betterment of the country though. I got to get all this shit, and that's the only way it's gonna work. But it's like, you know what it does. Like this could be bad for America. You have no idea. Like obviously, if it's in your hands, you could determine that, but you don't even really understand what it is you're doing. You think it misdirects misfortune, but this is more of a theory than it is concrete. His entire goals and motivations are kind of based off of a whim. So that's the irony in all this to me, which is funny. And obviously, what he tried to do the thing, force himself on her. Those are the only two things he does where I'm like, he's wrong. Everything else, he's nothing wrong. Let's talk about it. So, the napkin, first of all, this is just society, right? Think about how many times. Like I remember in sociology, right? My teacher, I can't remember her name. My teacher was like, "Yo, everyone come up here and like you do certain thing, right?" And you ever notice that the person who makes the first impression, the first move first, it dictates how everyone else is gonna act. So I went up there first and I just drew a circle, and everyone after me drew a circle. It's like, why did you draw a circle? Because he drew a circle. Because I acted first. That's what I did. And now everyone's action was just to follow what I was doing. They could do the X, a check mark, an N, anything else. They all did a circle. Why? Because I made that move first. Shout out to my napkin. Now, we're not done yet. There's more. It doesn't end. It keeps going. I like his ability's name and what it means and how it represents his character, because it's doing bad things at a low price, right? He's an interesting character to me because he grandstands a lot, just like I would expect a president or a politician to do. In the sense that it's like he always talks about kind of doing it himself and he's gonna get the job done and get his hands dirty, and it's like, bro, you're so warped in what you're thinking you're doing is so good for the country, and it really isn't. And I love that, because what is a politician's job to do? If you really think about it, like realistically, like obviously you'd hope that their job is to help and do good things, but really, they're just kind of there for themselves and keeping power, right? And to hit me with the quote that I said before the stream: fiction is a vessel in which reality is often explored through the lens of fantasy. Funny Valentine did something very interesting. How many times have you seen the meme? He did nothing wrong. He tricks the readers in real life into thinking he's not doing anything wrong. Now I can obviously see it, and I'm joking when I'm saying nothing wrong, but it's done so well it tricks actual readers, and they will debate. No, Johnny was selfish. He just wanted to walk again. Blah 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 blah, and he was doing this for his country. And that to me was the biggest trick he pulled. He did it in real life. He got the people reading the story to fucking get behind his own actions, and I'm like, you know what? I gotta give this character its respect. I enjoy him more so. I don't think he's like iconic like Dio and has that kind of like screen presence, but he is charismatic if you really think about it. Now we'll leave it there for now because I kind of want to talk about how some of these four characters kind of connect, but that's just my goat, man.
I'm a sucker for charisma, man. If you speaking on screen and you captivating the audience, I'm listening.
Cause like he's like one of the best sells of he's the author of his own narrative and believes he's the hero of his story. Right? That's what he is. He really thinks that, and it's like, no, you're not. To the point where like I almost feel like his last action showed his true nature. Don't let a filthy foreigner win. Before you, that was the real in him came out for a second.
He was trying to make America great again.
And how do you do that? By not letting that filthy foreigner win. God damn, you have to see it. So, listen, I think in a lot of ways this is Araki's best written character. That's how I feel about him. But yeah, man, that's my dude. Now, I kind of want to tie this into like the space-time abilities and the bad guys, how all of these bad guys kind of get the space-time abilities. But first of all, was D4C confusing for you guys? I think how it was introduced was poorly done with that who shot Johnny Joestar act. That was confusing. The ability itself, I don't think it is. But how do you guys feel about it first before we kind of?
The ability itself is absolutely not confusing at all. It's really fucking easy. Especially if you just have a very loose interpretation of the the multiple worlds theory, then you already know WTF going on here.
Yeah.
Now that whole arc of fucking who shot. Listen, I didn't even care to fucking solve the mystery. I'm like, all right, man, whatever. At the end of the day, and this, yeah, this is one of the fucking. This is one of the one of the many lessons that fucking Umineko teaches the viewer. At the end of the day, it doesn't fucking matter because the end result didn't change. Johnny still got shot and he's still fucking dying. It doesn't matter who fucking shot him. He's dying. Are you gonna sit here and try to solve this damn mystery, or are you gonna save this man's life? At the end of the day, that nigga got shot.
Fair
So
enough.
that fucking that whole arc was ridiculously confusing, especially the way they showed the different angles.
Mhm.
But I didn't care for it, so I was like, all right, whatever. I just checked out. I tuned out. D4C itself is ridiculously easy to follow. It's not that hard at all. But then again, it goes into what I said about, just the Japanese language and the just weird roundabout way of explaining things that are actually really fucking simple, but the way that they explain it makes it super fucking complicated.
Mhm.
So at the end of the day, all that nigga's doing is just jumping into another not dimension, but another timeline, world line. There you go, where he exists, and swap it. That's it. But the way they explain it, you're like, huh? And your brain oozing out your fucking pores. But no, his ability is fucking fine, and we've seen it before in other different fucking mediums. That is, if you aren't a fucking new nigga.
Yeah, it's not. I feel like multiverse stuff throws people, a lot of manga anime people off so fast really quickly, and I don't know why. But Pat.
Yeah, I agree. It's the ability itself is not confusing at all, but it's just the way that it was presented. Like it's just one of those JoJo things, man. Like you just reading, it's just like, what the fuck? Like you just got fucking gyros over here. It's like, this is my friend. Who shot my friend? And they're like, it was that person right there. No, it was that person right there. And then you got the old man out of nowhere. It was like, this is the person that shot him. And I'm like,
Yeah, I think he tried to
like-
really make that like a really compelling mystery. I think he just botched it.
yeah, I was just like, all three of them shot somebody. So, like, it doesn't matter who shot Johnny Joestar. You just know, like Simi said, like, Johnny got fucking shot. Why aren't you trying to find where Johnny is right now instead of worrying about who fucking shot him? All three of them shot him. It was just done in different ways.
Yeah, and it's like it's a very situational lesson. So it's like, the how is important, right? But not all the fucking time. Here, it's not fucking important because at the end of the day, this nigga Johnny got shot through his fucking mouth. Like, are you kidding me? I don't care who shot him. He got shot through his mouth and he went through a freaking drain pipe. Like, find this man! Everyone else about to die.
He's worried. You know what? He's got his eye on the prize. That's what he is. He's not worried about all this extra stuff. Like, we could figure this out later. When he's breathing in our arms. Like,
Oh God, like, bro. The MC is literally dying in a fucking sewage pipe. Please find this man.
oh, that's so funny. Yeah, I'm with you guys on that. And I just feel like he always does this, I find, with a lot of the last powers. There's an arc where you kind of don't get it, and he gives you an opportunity to figure it out. Like, why did he go up 2 steps and now he's back? Why was he in the car, in the taxi? Did he jump out the taxi? Now he's back at the wheel. Like, he likes to do that, the art of the unknown, before he kind of drops the veil. This is the one where I'm like, I don't know how you expected me to get that one. I did not think I did not come to this conclusion. This is not what he's just sharing. He's just sharing like he could go to other parallel universes by putting himself between an object or whatever, and then coming out with like I would not have gotten that based on like I think you can get the time one, this time stop one. I think you can get that. I even think you can get the restart one a little bit with a thing. I don't remember. I don't think we're ever gonna get the erasing time one because that was just nonsense from the jump. But like some of them, you can get it before you really understand it. Or it's one of those things where like, oh, when you explain it, like, oh yeah, okay, that makes sense. That's consistent.
The fucking the erasing time one is freaking easy too,
In
but it's
concept.
not.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not a fucking can of worms. Fucking argue. So basically, like freaking for our viewers at home, for those of you watching on TV,
Mhm.
if I was to jump right now from seconds 1 through 5, 1 being me standing on the floor and 5 me being in the fucking air, and then you erase the seconds between the seconds 2, 3, and 4, what would happen is I'm standing still, and then it would seem like I just teleported in the fucking air. You erase the moment where I'm bending my knees and moving through the fucking air until I reach the fucking peak of my jump. So it's very fucking easy to follow, but again, it's just that Japanese way of explaining shit that makes it way more complicated than it actually is. That being said, though, I honestly, as a tangent, I don't know why people are so confused when it comes to fucking multiple worlds and time manipulation and shit like that, because it's actually really easy to follow and whatnot. But
I agree.
hey, man. But I also agree that there's a lot of content creators and authors who try to dabble in uh the topic of time and they don't know how to fucking do it. So that's not helping the case either. But for the most part, shit to do with time isn't really that hard.
I think one thing that confused a lot of people is I guess they didn't I think for me, like the questions I got a lot, like when I talk to people, like I guess they didn't understand the swapping through the dimension hop, where it's like, is that version of Valentine dead? Like, yes, it's gone. But as a collective, Valentine throughout the multiverse, especially in conjunction with D4C, right? They all coexist at the same time and have the same goal. So once you plug one in, becomes like in a sense the new primary. Then that's the main one, and it just picks up where the last one went off. Because I couldn't imagine you being me there, like, wait, I have nothing to do with this. Send me back. This got nothing to do with me. Put me back in dimension 8216B18. Like, I don't want to be here. Fuck off. Take me back. I'm not with them. But I always found it interesting because it's like, it's almost a collective. Like, it's just the goal in mind. With this dude. But anyways, yeah, it's not hard to explain, but also understand that he's the only person who can exist in in one world but two different versions. Everyone else, the two of them collide and cease to exist. But he can, like, three of him could exist in timeline B, but two of me could not. We will both cease to exist. That's another thing I guess some people didn't get. But
I also like the fact that when he goes in between different dimensions, in order for the different versions of himself in different universes to understand everything that's going on, he has to transfer his stand to them.
yeah,
And then they inherit all the memories and they can understand exactly what's going on in that instance.
but just
And
know
it makes it very
you give
simple.
that to me and I'm passing it right to the next one. Like, I'm good, bro. Like I said, send me back to dimension 182.168B. I don't want to be here. I was chilling at home. I get pulled to 1920 like America. No, I'm good, bro. Leave me alone.
Yeah, it's like spoiler warning for those who are interested and who have not yet watched and or read the light novel for Bacano. But it's like fucking the whole deal with the immortals in Bacano, right? So freaking they have ability to, the only way to kill another immortal, but to kill a mortal is to have another immortal eat them. And when they eat them, they gain all of their fucking memories.
Yeah.
So it's just like that. Freaking, he's passing along all of his fucking
It's
memories.
a
So
file
then,
transfer.
pretty much,
Right before it gets
Pretty
deleted,
much.
he transfers the files mad quick.
yeah.
So yeah, but ultimately, I just thought the concept of him and D4C in conjunction was just this really good contrast. Cause like, like the duality between him and Johnny, I think is interesting. The selflessness and selfishness, but how it flips, and I think that him and Gyro, how they kind of clash, that's also equally as interesting. Maybe not so much with Diego, but I just find it funny that once he had nothing left, he turned to him like, "All right, yo, it's you or no one." I just find that funny. I actually like his design too. I think his design is cool. And D4C's design isn't bad or anything, but Love Train is raw. By the way, we ain't talking about Love Train that much. Love Train is fucking busted. Oh man.
I'm the opposite. I actually really like D4C stand. I absolutely hate fucking funny design.
That's fine.
I mean, shit. I
don't hate D4C design, but it's not my favorites. But it looks cool to me.
Like, I thought that D4C like was honestly the best looking fucking stand in the entire part.
That's fair.
It's not really much of a competition because again, as I said, this series feels like fucking X-Men. Their stands is like, for example, Hot Pants just has a fucking spray, right? Their stands are not really fucking humanoid like the earlier part, so it's not much of a competition. But I actually really like fucking D4C design.
Yep.
D4C.
Oh, bro. You saw my man got that integrity, that confidence, that charisma, everything. All right, talk about all these stand battles.
All right, first, I need to get this out of the way. I know we're talking about fire stand battles, but I just want to say, fucking Chocolate Disco was some ass, boy. That has to be the single worst. That
I wasn't ready for that.
is the single worst ability I have ever seen Araki come up with. This nigga put a fucking bingo fucking card on the floor, and then if you are the tile, he press a tile, you blow up. No, yo, this shit whack. Just shoot this man. This shit was whack, boy. That shit was so whack. I'm like,
Oh my god.
I cannot believe you wasting my time with this shit, man.
Bruh, I honestly, I feel like Araki, like, in the middle of coming up with it, was like, yeah, this shit not it. And then he just had Gyro scrap that nigga real quick, bro.
Sometimes you need a throwaway ability, you know? You got Disco got a DISKO has his he has his little, I don't know how to say K, but he has his little, I don't know. I definitely laughed, like, it's funny to me, but it's not good. It's not good at all. But I definitely like, what, like, I'm reading it like, what the fuck is this, bro? Araki, really? Like, are you good, bro? Like that's how I'm reading it. Like, are you good?
Like, this shit is so cumbersome. So first, he gotta put the fucking bingo card on the floor. Then he gotta wait for you to stand on it. This nigga is literally standing like 4 feet away from you, just watching you. Anybody with a long range item could get rid of this clown instantly. Like, bro, what was the purpose? I was pissed. I said, you cannot be serious right now. Especially since this whole arc was, I would say, the craziest part in fucking part 7, because then you got fucking Johnny getting shot here, Diego pulling up, everybody's pulling up all in this fucking street, but then fucking Gyro's fighting this fucking bum, this buffoon, this absolute moron of a stand user. Oh god. But anyways, back to our regular schedule programming.
Mando.
The goal.
Mando!
Son, when I say depression pack hit, you ever just so sad you become raw? You're like, dang, I'm trying to die.
Welcome to the true man's world, dog.
You never sitting down.
He got a skull as part of his goatee. He's different. He's not the same.
So look. You ever just sitting down in your house and you like, you know what? I'm trying to die. you just wait for any poor soul to walk close enough to your house, and you like, yo, kill me, please. And you just murk everybody who come along because they can't figure out your ability. Son, I'm trying to hit that type of depression where I just become raw. That man different.
I remember he had is it hemophilia? I don't know if I remember correctly. I think it's a thing where it's the thing where you get cut and you don't stop really bleeding, like you can't heal well.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah, and that with his dad and the Civil War and things that happened to him. I feel like there was someone trying to sexually assault him as a kid too. Am I remembering correctly? Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. And all of that, the pressure packet, everything said, you know what I really need to do? Risk my life in a man-to-man duel. Like, what? This guy's different. Like, he's just, I don't know. I think it might be like the hypest stand battle of all parts of JoJo. It's one of my, I don't know. It's so memorable. I just can't forget it.
Absolutely, like them freaking constantly looping, like they in the episode of Flintstones. They're fucking everyone one by one getting taken out until it's just Gyro versus he. So that shit, everything about it was just so gas packed, and the fact that his ability, he didn't even use it to fight. All he do is just shoot you. He just used his ability to reset the round, pretty much like a fighting game. So it so much rawness and swag, boy. Woo!
And there was a lesson there about societal values versus a man's own values, right? And kind of finding that balance in a sense too. So it was cool. It was good. It was good for their determination. But yeah, he basically wanted to be more self-centered, which is kind of funny. But listen, I have nothing but praise for that stand battle. Again, I don't know if it's the best, but it's definitely one of the, if not the most memorable. Like I never forget about it. Like I could think about this stand battle at random in the middle of the day at 5 p.m. Just be like, Mantham was so raw. And just kind of lean back in my chair and think about it. Like it's one of those ones. So you got to give it its credit. But let's talk about some of the other ones that obviously were pretty good. That,
I want to.
Sorry, go ahead.
It's just. You talk about the encapsulation of what being a man is all about. This shit right here, my nigga. Oh my god. This is it's I would say it's a top 3 stand battle in JoJo. It's just that profound to me. Like it's just, you see this man Ringo, he talking to Gyro and Johnny. Look at both of them in their eyes like a grown fucking man. And he say, hey, Gyro, you don't got the qualifications to fight me right now. But that nigga Johnny right there, he got all the qualifications. This nigga Gyro talk about, what the fuck is this nigga talking about? And he's like, hey, if you want to know, you have to do is ask. That nigga right there look like he ready to split my shit. You looking like you're not gonna do anything right now, so I'm gonna fight him. Bro, the fearlessness. Now, I wouldn't even say fearlessness, it's bravery. This man was brave enough to stand on the line between life and death constantly, to find deeper meaning on why he was able to survive when he was written off for dead so long ago when he was a child. You get into his backstory. We already talked about how he almost got raped, but we ain't even go into how, like, when he overcame that first major trial in his life, him being an invalid completely ceased from that point on in his life. He was moving like Macho Man things from that point on in his life. After that moment, nothing anybody ever did to him was not going to faze him. And in every instance that he came across was going to help him grow as a man. And I was just like, I have no choice but to respect it. If he wastes all of them here right now, I would say Part 7 ended on a good note. Because this man was just, I just couldn't believe it. Every time he went into an instance where his life was on the line and he got the outcome he didn't desire, what he do? Run that shit back. He wasn't running away from the result. He just wanted a better one. So every time he was going to run that round back, he was going to make sure he learned from a past mistake and then make sure he capitalizes on an opportunity that's going to present itself. And then what Gyro do? Gyro come in, get the resolve that he needed to fight this man. Ringo see him again. He was like, your eyes look a little bit better this time. And that was the first time in the entire part where Gyro actually had the resolve to take somebody's life away because he knew there wasn't going to be no second chances with this nigga. If he just put him down temporarily, all he going to do is just run that shit back so he can fight to the death again. And I was just like, oh, the way these two stood up and was squaring up before they went at each other for their final round. Oh my god! If you could write Ronis and Swag in a thesaurus and it had a picture to describe what Ronis and Swag is, it would be that fucking panel right there.
All I'm saying is, I don't know if any of you have had part of your chin strap, little chin hair be a skull. I haven't. I'm not that good. I'm not that wrong.
Hey,
I never will be.
Hey, that bitch ass nigga Poochie need to take notes. Having his fucking hairline going into his eyebrows, that shit not wrong.
Now, hold on. The ponytail going through the trench coat.
That shit not wrong.
We're not gonna.
That shit not wrong.
I'm not gonna disrespect my priest.
Having your goatee as a skull, that's raw. Your hairline going into your eyebrows, not raw. That nigga whack. Ringo, he the goat.
Oh my goodness! Welcome to the true man's world, bro.
Welcome to the true man's world.
Axel Rowe, whatever, with
Axl Rose, yeah.
with Civil War and the dying and stuff, and was it like resentment that wasn't it? When you die, you carry like something. That was interesting. I don't know how much I like it, but it definitely was interesting. I think for what I think the way it pushed the characters more so than anything, it was cool, but I don't know, man. I don't know. How do you guys feel about the final confrontation with Valentine and then ultimately the ultimate Diego? Did you like that? Like the final like horseback riding race with Diego and thing, and then love train stuff. Do you guys like that?
Hell yeah.
I wasn't a fan of the Diego battle. I really wasn't. The alternate version, I wasn't a fan of it. Like it was cool. I just felt like I think at that point I had personally checked out and I was ready to wrap it up though. I think that's what happened. Like, you know what? My goat's gone. Both of them gone. I'm just here. I just existed now. Everything I want to love is gone. So, yeah. Like, how do you feel about that as a final confrontation? Lives up, good, meh.
I think freaking, the whole nonsense of fucking Johnny and Gyro chasing after fucking Funny on the train, this nigga dodge rolling through slipstreams, and then fucking, and then finally on the fucking beach was better, or I should say, should have been just the final fight that we had. Period. Anything else after that was unneeded, but freaking Johnny and he, hey man, listen. You know what? I don't feel like fucking talking about it. I said what I had to say. I gave you my opinion. Fucking Funny dying on that fucking beach, that was the final fight. In my opinion. Anything else after that, they got it. Araki got it with it. He got it with that.
I'll let you talk.
See,
I'm more interested in hearing the alternate Diego part with you because you're a Dio stan. Not that I'm not.
See, this is the thing, right? We got all this introspective character writing. We got all these parallels and dynamics between Diego, Johnny, and Gyro throughout their entire time going into this final race. And then 2 of the 3 of them die. So then you're just left with Johnny. So after you're reading it, you're just like, fuck, the nigga already took care of Valentine. So what else is there to do? Win the race? I guess. Then what happened? This nigga Johnny talking about something. These prints look very familiar. And I'm over here like, who that is? And then after that, they started racing. And he was like, the man was in front of me. I see him. Then next thing you know, he disappeared. Like, what the fuck? What kind of horse rider technique is that? Then he pop up behind him. And then what do I see? Zawaldo! Ah! You know niggas was screaming, go, 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 go! Araki was like, you know what? Fuck all that introspective writing shit. We gonna bring Dio back. Ah! I could not believe my eyes. It's like fucking when Edge came back at the Royal Rumble and then niggas was screaming. That was me. That was me. I was like, my God. And then what happened? Not only was he the same type of deal that I was accustomed to, he was also taking into account the way he had crafted Diego to be in this part. So we had the malicious side of him who was willing to sacrifice any and everything in his way in order to get the dub. But we also had the cool, calm, and calculated version where he was like, hey, that nigga Tusk Act 4, that nigga is dangerous. I need to stay away from him. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to throw all these innocent people in his way, and I'm going to hang back, and then I'm going to make sure that he don't come within my range of me stopping time for 5 seconds, and I'm going to win this race. And what he do? He handed that nigga Johnny a crushing defeat. Woo! I don't think I had ever seen a JoJo protagonist get worked like that in a fucking battle with all the chips on the line like that. That was truly something to see. I did not expect it. I thought somehow Johnny was going to be able to prevail, and he didn't. And I have to tip my hat off to Araki for that one, because that was God tier. That was God tier for me.
But
I fucking loved it. He put that pajama wearing nigga in his place. I fucking love that shit.
I think that's the best part of the final fight. Like freaking how fucking this guy won the actual final boss is a fucking pretty, but like the fact that at the end of the day, Johnny still did not win this fucking race was the best thing that came out of this fucking final fight. The final fight itself. I mean,
true climax.
I thought freaking, the story could have ended right then and there with fucking Funny perishing on that fucking beach. But hey, man, listen, Johnny losing and the MC technically not winning in the end, I'll always stand for shit like that.
Yeah. Like, okay, so it's hard for me to explain because it's one of those things where it's like, this might be, I don't know how I feel about it. I don't know how I feel about it. I think there was a better way to do it. I'm not mad at it. The alternate Diego coming with the world and everything, to me it felt forced and shoehorned. It didn't feel as seamless as I think he might have thought it was with Valentine getting them and being like whatever. And then obviously they embellished his personality to be more like Dio from Part 3. Like, oh, I'm gonna just throw my fans in the ways of human shit. Like, oh, of course. Now I just want to make. Now just evil Dio just really, really here. Like, it didn't feel earned. I don't know. Oh, there it is. It didn't feel earned. It didn't feel earned to me. That's what I'm looking for. It didn't feel earned. I like that we got it, but I didn't feel like we deserved it. We didn't earn it. You don't get Dio like that. Got to build up. It need to happen properly. I don't know this nigga. Who is this guy? Who's the guy from Universal 1862? Who's this guy? But you can't be mad at Dio. He did win and he beat the golden rotation, and I think the way he went out was like, oh shit, like that was smart, Lucy, saving the head of the other Diego, and then boom, now he doesn't exist. But something about it rubbed me the wrong way. And I think we didn't earn it properly. I don't know, maybe that's what it was. As for the funny Valentine last one, honestly, I'm not a huge fan of it. I don't dislike it or love it. It's whatever. Should
I feel
that would have been good. Yes, sir.
Oh boy,
I'm kidding. I'm not kidding.
I know you're not. It's okay. But actually, my second favorite stand battle isn't even really a fight, but just fucking. I think this is peak JoJo. This entire fucking stand is just what JoJo or what the whole bizarre adventure is all about, and that's fucking Sugar Mountain Spring. Let me tell you something, man. When I say nightmare fuel, boy, this shit is so fucking horrifying, and the fact that fucking Gyro dumbass and his I play too much mentality made it so much more worse than what it should have been was fucking brilliant. Like, bro, so they have to. So you have this fucking lowly giving you a bunch of choices, right? And you think it's harmless until she tell you basically the rules of the game, and it's like, son, this shit was absolutely fucking horrifying. So they got a bunch of fucking shit that they have to get rid of within a time limit. Otherwise, they turn into the fruit of a fucking tree. And that shit is every time they messing up, and then their limbs just start transforming into fucking roots. That's the type of shit that makes me a fan of body horror. Like, it's so grotesque and scary and weird,
In a
but you
lot of
can't.
ways, that freaks me out more than like just straight up gore. Like he's turning it to a fruit. Like that's not it. There's
Like,
more
bro,
to
like,
that.
That shit is
sleep
scary.
Niggas gonna eat me out the
paralysis.
tree?
Sleep paralysis is one of the scariest things that one could go through because your consciousness is awake, but you cannot move. So now imagine transforming into an inanimate object. That's absolutely terrifying to me. So you feel your skin, your bones turning hard, and then you cannot move it anymore. You start becoming one with the earth, literally. It's like, bro, this shit is absolutely fucking horrifying. It's spine tingling. I absolutely love it. As a horror fan, I love it. As a JoJo fan, I love it. As a fan of just weird shit in general, I absolutely fucking love it. And the fact that they had so much different things, money, jewelry, a leaf, all that type of shit that they had to get rid of was so raw. And then on top of that, they had to deal with fucking Tattoo You. Son, let me tell you something. Tattoo You had to be one of the best fights in the entire fucking part. Because it just drove home the whole old Western aesthetic, right? They have this giant fucking shootout in a casino. It's drawn so brilliantly. There's fucking bullets and wood splinters and cards flying everywhere. It is so raw. I was off that gas pack, boy. The fact that they gotta fight 11, I counted them.
I counted. I made sure, nigga.
11 niggas all sharing the same stat, and again, the body horror aspect. They got like newspaper hair and newspaper face, and you shoot one and the shit starts sliding off their head and it just transports to another one of them, and they keep like, bro, that shit was so raw. And the way Araki draws bullets, he basically draws it like beams, like how Toriyama draws beams. So there's a circle at the start of it, and then a line of trajectory, so you see exactly where it's going, and it's fucking brilliant. So you see where every bullet is flying, and then when it connects with something, the fucking impact of the bullet penetrating whatever it connected with. It was just it was marvelous. It was fucking marvelous. They trying to get rid of their money. They gambling. I think it was Gyro who fucking started turning into a tree on the fucking casino table. Or it wasn't Johnny. I can't remember. One of them.
I'm pretty
Leaving
sure
the other to face 11 niggas. Wow. Simultaneously worrying about what's the fucking name of it? I have it written down. I got my notes. I got my Sugar Mountain Spring. There you go. At the same time, that stretch, that and the fucking stretch where Johnny got shot is the two best moments in the entire fucking manga to me. That shit was just so fucking gas packed.
Do you also think that the 11 men tattoo you are like almost like a small prototype of how he wanted to kind of frame Valentine's ability with like a main stand that we passed off kind of? Because like it's not like multiple people are there at once, but it kind of serves as a bit of a template for that later on. That's what I want to ask.
I didn't even remotely think about that, but now that you said it, yeah, it actually could very much be.
Like at the very least, he was flirting with the idea, and maybe
like a rough sketch.
Yeah,
or a rough draft of the blueprint that will be fucking the multi world theory bullshit that we deal with a couple chapters later. But actually, I really like that Blue Truth because I really thought that Tatsuyu was very underrated. You know, they didn't do much. All they literally did was you see them riding in a couple of panels, then they pull up and just start shooting you. Like they ain't even
They
fucking
they
talk. But
they
now go
was
ahead,
in
Pat.
Keep
there
it simple sometimes.
busting at them. That's all I'm gonna say. They was in there busting at Johnny and Gyro. Oh my god, they had the clips locked and loaded, just pulling up, busting at them in a casino. That shit was so raw.
Oh my god, yeah, it really just drove home the whole Western movie shootout shit. It was beautiful, and it was just rawness and swag. Um, Another fight I liked a lot was fucking versus Sandman. What's his fucking shit called? I got it written down.
He just ran.
Silent Way, because that nigga was fighting with fucking onomatopoeia. I thought that was absolutely fucking brilliant. I thought again, Araki's really shining here. So he's literally fighting with fucking sound effects. So like a sound effect of hot, if you fucking touch it, that shit is scorching. That shit was absolutely fucking raw. The fact that there was
It obviously somewhat ties in a little bit to Koichi's thingy, a little bit. Just
what you say you broke
Koichi,
out.
sorry, Koichi. You know, Koichi could like I think with was it Act 2 or was it 1 with the words, and it's like you feel the hotness and stuff. Like it's similar to that in some ways too, which is cool.
Yeah, I thought that was absolutely raw. And then the fact that they was, in the middle of the race, their horses are in the fucking water. They gotta protect their horses' stamina and shit while fighting this nigga. I thought it was absolutely fucking brilliant. I thought that shit was raw, and I'm mad that I didn't remember that from my first fucking read. Cause reading it the second time, I'm like, yo, this shit raw, man. And then another one that I liked his ability, but the way he went out was whatever. Was fucking
I like the like I don't know I wouldn't know exactly to phrase this, but like his name is quite literally Sound Man, but something to do with the way the Japanese say it, and also Sando Man still sounds like Soundo Man, whatever.
oh yeah, their fucking wordplay.
I don't whatever. I'm not Japanese at all, but
So that flew over our heads, our filthy American heads, our filthy Westerner heads, I should say.
this is how I feel a lot of times with the musical references. I'm like, damn, like this is not like a Prince song or something. I just don't. I just like all of these AC/DC songs that is probably so well connected to the character, and I'm just not like the lyrics probably somehow tie into their personalities. I'm sorry that this is the one part of JoJo that constantly goes over my head. I just don't listen to that
Yeah,
music.
especially since I'm not a music head like that. I'm like, I'm sorry, man, you completely missing me.
Yeah.
I appreciate the effort though.
I know it's there though. Like I just assume. Like
Oh, and then freaking
I got it.
Michael and fucking Tubular Bells. I liked his ability a lot because that body horror shit where he got a fucking balloon animal and that shit burrows under his fucking skin, and then until finally it erupts out of your fucking body, turning you into like not a pincushion, but like fucking if you was to tear apart a cotton, like a cotton ball. That shit was absolutely fucking horrifying. He himself, absolutely whatever. I ain't give a shit about him. But his power, I actually liked a lot. Hot Pass got his ass out of here though. And that's it for me. The rest of the fights are fucking whatever to me. Like Pork Pie Kid, fuck that nigga. Fucking what was that fucking family called? Them three
Boom, boom.
dickheads?
The
Yeah,
Boom
the
Boom
Boom family. Fuck them guys. Those,
Them niggas are
It was
so
like what
whack.
Benjamin, Andre, and someone else, right?
yeah, whatever the fuck the bitch was called. Who cares? But go ahead, Pat. I've been rambling for a long time. My throat dry.
I will say, aside from Mandom in the final fight, the fight that stuck out to me was Weka Pipo and Magenta
Thank you.
when they was fighting Gyro and Johnny in the Arctic area of the race. And listen, that fight kind of put some fear into my heart when I was reading it, because I was like, fuck, there's nothing in this area where Gyro can use as a reference for a golden rectangle. So how the fuck? Like, I was like, how is he gonna beat these niggas, bro? Because when they had the left side ataxia, this man, Wicked People, was on it. He's one of the few villains in the medium that's like, when they go up against who they was fighting, they were well prepared. They knew exactly what they wanted to do, and he knew to fight them in a setting where it was going to take away their main advantage, and he didn't underestimate Gyro.
And he has.
He kept telling this dumbass nigga Magenta. He was like, don't underestimate the Zeppeli family rotation. This shit is dangerous. If this nigga gets one reference, it gonna take us out the paint. And they literally only won because fate smiled upon them with the was it the body of a wolf with the legs? He was able to use that as the reference for a golden rectangle, and he was able to defeat them. And I love that fight because it also ties back into Gyro's backstory, because Gyro once tried to do the operation on Wicked People's sister, who he was fighting for, who Wicked People was fighting for, where he tried to like cure her eyesight, but then like what happened? Something unfortunate happened in the middle of him doing the operation and like fucked up his concentration real quick. So like she was left permanently blind. And then like his dad came to tell him, he was like, yo, I mean, you could have done the operation, right? I know you had the ability to do so, but it's like one of those moments where like, you know, when you're playing tennis, right? The shit hit the net. You all know which side the ball's gonna fall on. So like if he had done the operation correctly, yeah, she would have got her vision back, but then she would have been killed because whatchamacallit, Wicked People killed her husband because he was beating her. And let me just say, Wicked People did nothing wrong because that nigga was disrespectful. If somebody say something like that about my sister, they going down too. Mm-hmm. But
he was exiled for no good reason.
Yeah, and fucking the fact that he wasn't able to do the operation correctly was actually a blessing in disguise, because of that, since she couldn't see, the government left her alone, where they would have executed her if she had been able to see properly. So I kind of like that because it was like the lesson there. Like, even though you might mess up in what you were intending to do, there's always going to be like a silver lining in everything that you do. So I appreciate that.
I'm happy you brought that up because the one thing about Magenta's fight that makes you laugh is, first of all, his stand ability. Like, him hit this position. Haha, I'm good. Like, but you can't do nothing. Like, he just there, like, he just in his defensive stance, and it's like all physical and magic attacks reflect off, you know, what you can't move. I don't know, but it's just like the homage to Cars, the stop thinking gimmick, because you're just underwater for so long. I just laugh because sometimes I find that some characters are like bad and they're fucked, but I'm like, I don't know, they deserve this. Like, some characters deserve these fates worse than death, so to speak, and they don't get them. Like, this dude Kira got to be a ghost and work, and this, like, no, like, he used to be suffering in hell, bro. Like, so I just thought that was funny. Anything? I guess we'll end it off with anything about this part that we forgot in general.
Oh wait, hold on, nah, freaking Pat, you confused. So you're confused with that fucking wolf part with another part. So I have in my notes, I looked it up. There's a reason why freaking I ain't bringing this fight up. In my notes, this is how Gyro was able to beat fucking Wicked People. In my notes, I have written, somehow ice instantly turned into snowflakes, and snowflakes have rectangles in them.
Oh yeah.
I'm like, bro, what is this? This is silliness. So you telling me the snow is transforming into snowflakes, and you can make a square with a snowflake, so Gyro wins? I'm like, bro, are you kidding me?
Hey, them snowflakes are perfectly symmetrical, and within them you could put a golden rectangle. So it works.
Hey man, that's out.
I'm like, I said, you know what? You got it. He got it with that.
But yeah, this is the best part, favorite part, or is it overrated? And then we'll just kind of talk about anything we missed, anything that stood out to you, and then we'll just wrap it up.
Pat, go first. I gotta get up.
All right, so I would say that it was the best part if you had asked me this 2 years ago.
Ooh.
But after I've been reading JoJo, man,
You know what I'm
I
saying?
don't
Like,
know. I don't know. JoJo been hitting like, and it's not even like me reading it monthly is what's shaping my opinion. No, I was feeling like this as I was reading up until like about chapter 60 something. I was like, no, this shit might be the GOAT JoJo part. Cause, well, we're gonna do a podcast later on about JoJo, so I'm gonna just save it for there. But just know, that shit crazy. That shit has everything that I like about JoJo in it. Like, it's just fire. But if we're gonna talk about like, I would say part 7 has the best writing. All the characters are extremely fleshed out. Even characters that don't appear for more than like 3 chapters, i.e. Ringo Road again. Like, you can't explain a character better than what Araki did with what he did with Ringo in such a short time. Like, it's just fucking phenomenal.
yeah.
And the conclusion was just it was so heartwarming. I loved it. I loved everything past the Boom Boom family is 10 out of 10.
Leave
The
Andre
Boom Boom
alone,
family
man.
whack. They whack, bro. I'm sorry.
Leave Andre alone. But so if I do the stupid loser thing, a lot of manga heads do, the objectively, I kind of agree with that, honestly. If you're just going from like a writing and quality standpoint, I think all the characters are well written, fleshed out, developed well. Like these things do not always make or break a story. Like everything could be like well written and boring. Like that happens all the time. Like it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
But like if from that aspect, I actually mostly agree because it's my personal belief that Funny Valentine is if not the best, like top 3 characters he's written. The politician propaganda translating from on the pages to real life to me was when I realized that I'm like that's kind of genius. And obviously not to over embellish it because obviously a lot of series we do that. We'll just take a character like Rachel who obviously something wrong and said she's nothing wrong, but this is one of those instances where like you can really argue both sides or even somewhere in the middle depending on your morality. And mine just warped, dark, black, despair. So I'm siding with the president on that side. But yeah, I part time's not my favorite. It's probably top 3, 4-ish, somewhere around there. Part of the reason why again is I'm not a fan of Johnny, so he's there a lot, and I don't like seeing him, so that affects my enjoyment a little bit. It is counteracted by the smile on my face when I see my dude put up in that pink with them curls and the napkin. You know what I'm saying? with the stars and stripes on my back. That was a bit much. That was a bit much. Like his back having like the American flag in it. Come on. Like, that's so on the nose too. Like, come on. But you know what? I don't know. Maybe it'd be received differently in Japan because they're like, oh, that's cool. Like maybe it's received differently over there. But yeah, it's a cool part, great part, definitely a top 3 part I would say. But yeah, it's not my favorite. I'm really like part 8 is kind of my favorite part, low key. But we'll get there. We get there. All right, Simi. Your thoughts on part 7? Is it the best part objectively? Better than all other parts? The writing, the character development. Go ahead.
Oh man, well, it's not my favorite part. I already said that part was my favorite part, so you know that answered that question. But I'd have to say, yeah, it's probably in my top 3. It's really fucking good. I do agree with the notion that this is one of the high points of the series. Like it stands above the rest.
That's what you did.
Right. But woo! Yes, stand as in stand powers and the fact that boy Johnny can't stand for shit because he leg broken. But anyways, I think it's a pretty good fucking part. The funny thing is, the irony of that is, when I first read this, I came in similar to Pat thinking this shit was finna be trash, but not because of the universe reset. I thought it was gonna be trash when I read the premise. I said, wait, hold on. So you're telling me for 80 something chapters, these niggas finna be racing? on horses, no. I said, this about to be whack, boy. I'm about to be miserable. I'm like, son, there's no way this could be wrong. Ride it on. How they go fight? They racing on horse.
Hey,
This shit
man,
about to be.
triangle. The rectangle, sorry.
I'm like, hey, this about to be some fucking doo doo. And Lord knows I was made to eat those words quick.
That's
this
so
shit-
funny to me because
It's
I came in with
crazy,
the
but all it
opposite
takes is-
opinion. Well, not opinion, but like belief. Like, oh, this is the part, along with 4, that is heralded as the best 2. So I went in there like, you better impress me. I was impressed. I was impressed. Sorry, Pat. Go ahead.
Yeah,
I was
it's
just gonna say, like, it just took one fucking race for me to be like, hey, niggas riding on horses? Raw. Where my 10-gallon hat at? Shit, raw.
I'm like, there's no way this could be wrong, man. They fucking riding on a horse. I said, no. Then there's like, it's cross country. I'm like, how the hell y'all gonna do this? Like, this shit about to be stupid. But hey, man, listen. I was made to eat those words. Shit gas. The art gas. We got a lot of panels that are just characters' faces. The evolution of Araki's art from the 80s to more current year. It was gas packed. I absolutely love it. It is something I most definitely would recommend to people. That being said, not as no standalone shit. You better start from fucking part one. But
Yeah.
it is an absolutely amazing
Works.
part. We're not even gonna start on those fucking dweebs. We're not gonna give them a fucking platform. But anyways, it's absolutely amazing part. Amazing characters. Stan Bell's are fucking fantastic. The characters are fantastic. You know, if you the type of more character development merchant, there's a lot of that in there too. So you should be happy with that. It's a really great time. It's fun. It's serious. It's sad. It's a fun ride. Period. Like, that's easily a freaking 9 out of 10 for me.
Yep. Any final words?
Put that
Spinning
nigga
bo-
Valentine in the office.
Say that again. Put him in the office and the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, put him in the office.
And the Hall of Fame.
Spinning balls raw.
I mean, yeah, like I don't know what to tell you. So, and you off with this? I mean, why don't you Valentine kind of go? Because fiction is the vessel in which we often explore reality through the lens of fantasy. Bye.